Chapter 1760. However, Du Xiaofu took it head-on. Golden light burst out from the azure spirit armor, and the faint sound of a rock could be heard. Moksha spat out blood, and his body was sent flying. The ancient armor in front of his chest caved in, and cracks appeared all around. However, Du Xiaofu's body only swayed slightly, and the azure spirit armor dimmed slightly. Then, it shone as brightly as before, completely unaffected. Moksha's punch was extremely powerful. During his battle with Du Xiaofu, Moksha's punch had directly shattered Du Xiaofu's chest, revealing a bloody hole so deep that the bone could be seen. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu was completely unaffected. Although Du Xiaofu's cultivation was already at the same level as Moksha's, the azure spirit armor on his body was the most important. Oh my god, is that armor a treasure or a condensation of celestial chi? Its defense is off the charts. Some of the supreme martial artists present were extremely sharp, and they immediately realized that Du Xiaofu's armor was not ordinary. Its defense was extremely terrifying. Moksha staggered and stabilized himself, and his eyes were filled with shock. He stared at the strange armor on Du Xiaofu's body. Moksha had never seen such a defense before. Du Xiaofu smiled. He had just tested the defense of the azure spirit armor, and it did not disappoint him. Such a defense was enough to block any attack of the same level, and it was as good as a realm cultivator's defense. It was indeed abnormal, and it was indeed left behind by the ruler of the 3,000 greater worlds. Let's continue. His battle intent surged, and golden light shone from his back. Du Xiaofu activated the real rock golden wings, and together with the azure spirit armor, he seemed to have become a real rock in human form. He flapped his wings and broke through the air, and he instantly pounced in front of Moksha. Moksha's expression changed. That speed made it difficult for him to dodge. He raised his arms, and a pair of black and gold gloves appeared on his hands, like a spiritual armor covering his palms. The golden gloves let out the sound of wind and thunder. Lightning and demonic aura intertwined and collided with Du Xiaofu. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was covered in the azure spirit armor. Other than his eyes, everything else was covered under the armor. Golden light flowed and he felt as if he was a real rock. The rock golden wings were rock's golden wings, and its aura, and it was truly connected with the flesh, blood, flesh, tendons and bones rock and roxes. The rocks, the rock golden rock, the rock golden rock rocks, the rock, the rock, s-rock. Pong. In the time it takes for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, the two once again exchanged several moves. The sharp claws of the demonic temple's golden dagger axe gloves landed on Du Xiaofu's body and slid off his shoulder. Bang! Du Xiaofu's punch caused the surrounding space to surge and boil. At the same time, it landed on Moksha's chest and completely blasted apart the armor on his chest, revealing a bloody hole. It was so deep that bones could be seen and blood was flowing out. Moksha was knocked back again and spat out a mouthful of blood. Purple electric arcs rippled on his body, emitting crackling sounds. His injuries healed very quickly and his body was immediately restored to perfect condition. However, the ancient armor on his body could not be healed immediately. Fight! Moksha was infuriated. He let out a loud roar as his devil chi filled the sky. It was as if he had activated a special type of martial vein. Suddenly, numerous devil shadows appeared in the void around him. The cries of ghosts and howls of gods could be heard. It was as if they had come out from the devil domain and rushed towards Du Xiaofu. Fight! Du Xiaofu's battle intent surged as he flapped his wings, shattering the demonic shadows one after another. He was like a human-shaped peng as he charged towards Moksha. The two of them continued to attack each other as they fought crazily. G.A.O. The roar of the peng resounded as Du Xiaoyao roared. The huge black golden peng blotted out the sky as blood flowed out of its mouth. It was being suppressed by Du Xiaoyao. It seems like Moksha is no match for him. I didn't expect the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, to be so strong. That golden-winged peng seems to be called Jialo Jueliao. I didn't expect him to be so strong. What kind of nirvana is Du Xiaoyao? It's so terrifying. Such a terrifying battle caused the supreme talents around to discuss animatedly. At this moment, the 4 people in the battle were all standing at the peak of their generation or even the same realm. They could look down on heroes and defeat opponents of the same level. Such 4 people made the group of supreme talents sigh. If these 4 people were in the ancient times, they would definitely be able to compete with the legendary ancient supreme talents. Qila. In the chaotic void, Moksha's back was slashed by Du Xiaofu's golden peng's wings. The wings cut through the void and cut through the armor. Deep wounds were revealed as blood spurted out. Roar. Du Xiaofu didn't stop. Suddenly, a loud roar came out from his mouth. It was like the cry of a prung piercing through the clouds and splitting rocks. It was also like the cry of a dragon and the cry of a divine elephant. The light in his eyes was like 2 bolts of purple-golden lightning that rushed out, piercing through the void and shooting towards the heavens. Moksha's shoulder was hit by the fist once again. Endless bright electric arcs and mysterious runes erupted. The terrifying Xian Qi fluctuation was like a vast ocean. It was incomparably violent, accompanied by a large amount of blood mist. The ancient armor was shattered, and the demonic aura wreaked havoc as blood dripped down. Demon King, Du Xiaofu is too strong. Moksha was suppressed by Du Xiaofu again and again. Such an unparalleled battle made people dumbfounded. There's still one more. Suddenly, a little girl stepped out from the corner of the crowd. The gaze in her golden eyes was locked onto a strange purple-robed figure. Mo Lingzi, who was watching the battle in shock, suddenly felt that someone was staring at him. He abruptly raised his head and looked over. When he saw a little girl, his gaze was somewhat astonished. Someone from the devil religion? Come up and accept your death. Little Xingxing stepped out and looked at Mo Lingzi. Her little hand slightly waved forward, not putting Mo Lingzi in her eyes. Mo Lingzi had seen little Xingxing in action before. Only his eyes that were exposed on his face were flickering with electric arcs. Can't you hear me? Come up and accept your death. Little Xingxing didn't give up as her little body stood proudly. Mo Lingzi let out a deep snort that sounded like muffled thunder. In an instant, blazing purple lightning covered his entire body, as if a purple sun was rising. At this moment, countless dazzling lightning runes gushed out. The terrifying might of lightning filled the horizon as countless lightning rays pierced through the space. An aura that made one's soul palpitate suddenly rippled and spread out in this region, and it was still spreading out towards the distance. At the same time, there was billowing demonic qi, accompanied by the cries of ghosts and howls of gods. This martial vein seems to be extremely similar to the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, and Du Yunlong. When Mo Lingzi activated his martial vein, it immediately caused many exclamations. In the crowd, a handsome and resolute middle-aged man looked at Mo Lingzi with purple electric arcs in his eyes as he revealed a surprised expression. Kill! Mo Lingzi charged out with electric arcs rippling around his body. He was powerful and awe-inspiring. 6 divine rings appeared above his head as Nirvana's sovereign power surged. Although Mo Lingzi wasn't as strong as Jialo Juixi and Moksha, he was still in existence at the pinnacle of his generation, enough to sweep through those in the same realm. Boom! A demonic lightning seal gathered. The seal contained billowing demonic qi as if there was a demonic shadow in the sky. Accompanied by the rolling purple lightning, it was like a sun shining in the sky. Countless lightning bolts soared into the sky as the purple lightning filled the sky. This demonic lightning seal crushed towards little Xingxing. A terrifying killing aura instantly caused the sky to rumble. Cries of ghosts and howls of gods resounded as a dense aura of destruction filled the air. This terrifying power caused the supreme talents in the surroundings to start trembling all over. Many people present also gasped for breath for little Xingxing. Chapter 1761. Too weak. Little Xingxing lifted his head. He looked at the frightening lightning devil seal that came crashing down. However, he remained unmoved. Little Xingxing's small body did not pull back in front of everyone's shocked eyes after his words sounded. Instead, he moved forward. He directly traversed the empty space and walked towards the frightening lightning devil seal. Crossing the void, little Xingxing advanced instead of retreating. He didn't put up any defense and allowed the lightning demonic seal to land on his body, causing the surrounding void to explode. Rumble, the space exploded, the runes shattered, and the demonic aura wreaked havoc as the destructive force swept out. Everyone's eyes trembled as they were worried about that tiny figure. Chi! Suddenly, the destructive force of the lightning demonic seal exploded, and that tiny figure appeared before Mo Lingzi without any injuries. His tiny fist was wrapped in faint golden flames as it lightly landed on Mo Lingzi's chest. Bang, bang, bang. But at this instant, it caused a chain reaction. The 6 divine rings above Mo Lingzi's head shattered, and an explosion resounded from his body. His body cracked, and the purple lightning dissipated. Blood splashed, and his body flew away like a kite with its string cut, unable to withstand a single blow. Gulp! When this scene appeared, everyone's hair stood on end as they swallowed their saliva. Rumble! The heavenly sound was endless, as if the heavenly drums were ringing. The heavens and earth trembled, and the firmament trembled. The Jialo Absolute Panacea Mo Peng and Du Xiaoyao Redbone Horse Monkey fiercely collided as runes blossomed and demonic aura filled the sky. Rumble! The entire divine domain began to tremble as cracks began to appear in the sky as a rain of light poured down. The void was filled with ancient runes. They circled around all the foreign living beings, forming a huge binding force that tried to push them out. The divine domain is about to be completely closed. All the sovereigns exclaimed in shock as the divine domain was about to be completely closed. In an ancient canyon, in the Lightning Mountain Range, Awu, a large number of ancient demonic beasts had gathered. They were all demonic beasts at the Beast Region realm and above, and they gave off extremely ferocious auras. Thunder Eagle King, Miameng King, Emodan Xiao, Yi Wuming, and the others raised their heads and looked at the rain of light in the sky. The divine domain is about to close. Rumble! On the Chen Huang mainland, the space of the divine domain was trembling. Divine light burst forth, and a rain of light poured down. It was as if something was being activated. An indescribably ancient and vast power engulfed the area, emitting a dazzling light that intimidated the world. In the air, on the mountain peaks, many aged figures and hidden experts appeared. They opened their eyes and waited. The space of the divine dominion is about to close, and they will be pushed out, bringing out countless opportunities and inheritances. The various great powers and sects were all looking forward to it. They were waiting for their disciples to walk out and bring with them great opportunities. Once that little bastard comes out, I'll think of a way to kill him. I'll eliminate him by the roots, even if I have to pay the price. On the misty mountain peak, Li Chunfa, Long Teng, Gong Sunhua, and the others gritted their teeth and transmitted their voices. Legalism, dragons, and the younger generation of the school of vertical and horizontal had almost all died. Many of the older generation experts had also been killed in the divine dominion. These 3 great families had never been humiliated like this since ancient times. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had hurt their bones and their fortunes. Even they themselves had been severely injured. How could they not be angry and resentful? Be careful of Long Teng, Li Chunfa, Gong Sunhua, and the others. The old lady spoke. She discussed with Bing Mo, Old Man Di Pai, and Old Monster Xing Hun from the school of Yinyang. The demonic star descends. In the void of the divine dominion, Moksha's body was already drenched in blood. The ancient armor on his body was shattered, and the surrounding demonic chi gathered as if he had summoned many demonic stars. They crushed the void and formed a vast space of demonic stars. The scene was terrifying, and it enveloped Du Xiaofu. Under such terrifying pressure, even an ordinary domain realm cultivator would be directly crushed to death if they were to barge in. Great rock strikes the sky. Du Xiaofu was fearless. The golden wings of the great rock on his back spread out, as if they were soaring into the 9 heavens. Golden light and mysterious runes erupted, shattering the many demonic stars. He crossed the void and in an instant, his fingers swept out and filled the bloody hole in Moksha's abdomen. It's too terrifying. No one in the same generation can be a match for the two of them. All the supreme geniuses were shaken. A battle between a devil monarch and a devil king was like two gigantic mountains crushing down on their hearts. All of them were proud and arrogant. They were born to be supreme experts, dragons and phoenixes among men. But now, even powerful existences like them were suffocating from the invisible crushing force. Compared to the demon monarch and the demon king, their innate talents were not worth mentioning. Moksha kept vomiting blood, and his eyes became deeper and darker. Many beast energy shadows gathered around him, and in the midst of roars, they pounced towards Du Xiaofu. Little Taoist! Du Xiaofu was fearless. He was like a human-shaped great rock, peerless and ferocious. He destroyed all the beast energy and blasted the void. Purple gold lightning surged, and the supreme beast energy of the great rock surged. Since you like beast energy, I'll fulfill your wish. Du Xiaofu shouted. The azure spirit armor and the great rock wings were like a tiger that had grown wings. He was fearless. Roar! As the hand seals formed, Du Xiaofu activated the beast energy. In an instant, in the midst of roars, countless ferocious demonic beast shadows swept out, and rays of light shrouded Moksha. Roar! Hundreds of beasts roared, and ferocious birds flapped their wings. Ferocious beasts soared through the sky, and the energy swept out like a vast ocean. Bang bang! Moksha tried his best to block, but he was still pushed back. He vomited blood again, and even the bones in his body cracked. He was seriously injured. Moksha is no match for him. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu's growth in these few months is too terrifying. Everyone was flabbergasted and dumbstruck. This kind of confrontation caused their blood to boil. Du Xiaofu flapped his wings, and thunder surged around his body. He was like a great rock descending from the 9 heavens. He opened his mouth and let out a roar. The roar of dragons and the trumpeting of divine elephants rolled out endlessly, shaking the void. This was Du Xiaofu's domineering Tao. The sound waves swept out like a tsunami, and the entire void rumbled. Countless roars echoed in the sky, and it was like a chain of thunder from the 9 heavens that resounded in the world. Amidst this roar, there was an all-pervasive sound wave that entered one's ears, and it transformed into a strange and overbearing martial Tao that caused the profound energy in one's body to be unable to help but seethe uncontrollably. The divine gates were on the verge of exploding, and the soul core was on the verge of exploding. Puff, puff. Moksha, who was caught off guard, was seriously injured again. He coughed out blood continuously, and his powerful body was more and more damaged. Blood flowed everywhere, and his armor was shattered. He looked very miserable. This kind of strength isn't even enough to scratch an itch. Little Xingxing said as she looked at Mo Lingzi, who was sent flying. She didn't care about him at all. That kind of terrifying destructive power was completely useless against her. Chi! In the next instant, little Xingxing's figure appeared in the sky, and the space around her seemed to be fluctuating. It seemed slow, but she appeared in front of Mo Lingzi in an instant. She stretched out her little hand, and golden flames rose. Little Xingxing, have mercy! As Du Tingshuan's voice faded, his figure appeared beside little Xingxing, blocking little Xingxing's attack. He looked at Mo Lingzi and asked, "You possess the Du family's martial vein. Who exactly are you?" Chapter 1762. Mo Lingzi revealed his eyes and stared at Du Tingxian. He said in a sinister voice, "You have no right to know. Take off your hood and you'll know." Du Tingshuan's gaze sharpened. Lightning flickered in his eyes, and his aura surged out from his body. Rumble! In the space of the divine dominion, a huge repulsive force surged out and enveloped the entire space. In an instant, everyone was pushed out by the huge restraining force and couldn't help but be pushed out. Du Tingxian was about to make a move when the surrounding space trembled. Under the vast aura, any living being would be affected. Du Xiaofu and Moksha, and Du Xiaoyao and Jialo Jueliao's battle were also directly affected. Du Xiaofu, who was about to continue attacking Moksha, was also affected. His vast aura collapsed and imprisoned everything. All the living beings in the space of the divine dominion were also pushed out and enveloped by the rain of light. A spatial crack appeared in the void. All the figures were enveloped by the rain of light and swept up into the sky. In an instant, figures rose from the entire space of the divine dominion and swept up into the spatial crack. Rumble. On the Qinhuang mainland, the space of the divine dominion was filled with rain of light. Figures appeared from the exit of the divine dominion as if they had torn the space apart and swept out one after another. They're out. Someone's out. When those figures appeared, countless eyes on the Qinhuang mainland were filled with anticipation. Those were the descendants of the various sects and clans. They were looking forward to them obtaining a huge opportunity to revitalize their sections. They're out. Pay attention to Du Xiaofu. Don't let him escape. On the misty mountain peak, Li Chunfa, Long Teng, Gong Sunhua, and the others had bright eyes, but their faces were cold. Seeing that the supremes of the various sects and clans were about to come out with a huge opportunity, while the younger generation supremes of the 3 sects and clans had already been wiped out, and even the older generation experts who went in later had lost many of their members. One could imagine how Li Chunfa and the others felt at this moment. The roar. Suddenly, just as those figures appeared, the cries of rocks resounded, and the roars of beasts were like thunder. A huge black demonic rock squeezed out of the space of the god domain. Its huge body covered many creatures in the surroundings and shook them away. A golden redbone horse monkey soared through the sky, domineering and arrogant. It was actually chasing after the demonic rock. Whoosh! Moksha also flew towards it. After he left the divine domain, he rapidly flew away. Moksha, where are you going? Du Xiaofu didn't give up. He also flew out from the divine domain and chased after Moksha. His master, Xiahou Feng, was still in the hands of the devil religion. He had to capture this Moksha. Moksha's face was pale and his aura was very weak. His physical body was even more miserable. Although purple electric arcs flowed and his physical body was constantly recovering, Du Xiaofu's injuries were too severe. Many parts of his body were still bleeding. Originally, Moksha thought that after he advanced by leaps and bounds, Du Xiaofu wouldn't even be able to enter the Supreme Tomb to fight for that huge opportunity. In his heart, he felt that Du Xiaofu was no longer his opponent. However, at this moment, Moksha suddenly understood. Everything was beyond his imagination. Du Xiaofu was already so powerful that he suppressed him. He was no longer his opponent. His immortal Xian body hadn't reached the major completion stage. If this continued, even the immortal Xian body wouldn't be able to protect him. It's Du Xiaoyao. It's a golden-winged rock with monstrous demonic aura. That's Du Xiaofu. He came out and is chasing after someone. In an instant, the Qinhuang mainland was in an uproar. Many eyes suddenly twitched. It's that little bastard who came out. Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, Gong Sunhua, and the others suddenly emitted a cold light. In an instant, murderous intent surged. Let's wait first. With Jialo Mola and his group here, we won't be able to take advantage of them. That Du Xiaofu is making his move. Let's wait and see first, Li Chunfa said in a low voice. It's Zhu Qi. He has fused with the demonic bone. Jialo Zhu Qi has turned into a demonic rock. The golden-winged rock experts present looked at the huge demonic rock in the void. Their expressions changed, and rays of golden light rippled. Watch out for Xiaofu. Zhu Qi has already fused with the demonic bone. We can't let him escape. On the old lady's weathered face, golden light surged in her eyes. Her hunched body trembled with a complicated expression. Moksha, you can't escape. In an instant, Du Xiaofu flew out. With his current speed and Moksha's injuries, he immediately blocked Moksha's path. With a wave of his hand, purple-gold electric arcs swept out and swept towards Moksha. This guy is chasing after Moksha. The supreme geniuses who came out from the god domain were all shocked. Even a powerful existence like Emosha was being hunted down by Du Xiaofu right now. Everyone couldn't help but be shocked. For the people in the outside world, they might not be too clear about Moksha's strength. However, to the supreme beings and heavenly geniuses in the divine domain, It was clear that this was a terrifying existence at the peak of the great supreme nirvana realm. It was enough to show disdain for the past and present, and it was difficult to find an opponent in the same generation who could compete against it. But now, Moksha was being chased by Du Xiaofu in just a short period of time in the Supreme Tomb. In an instant, Moksha jumped, but he couldn't avoid Du Xiaofu. His body was engulfed by purple-gold electric arcs, and he staggered forward. Sparks flew out, and his hair stood on end. He was in a very sorry state. "You can't escape!" Du Xiaofu roared. His golden rock wings flapped, and his speed was incomparably fast. A palm imprint blasted out, the Shaoyang imprint. Feeling the terrifying fluctuation behind him, Moksha turned around in shock. The gloves on his hands surged with monstrous demonic qi, and collided with Du Xiaofu's Shaoyang seal. Puff! This collision shook the void. Moksha's body shook violently, and blood spurted out from his mouth again. "You can't escape today." Du Xiaofu looked straight at Moksha. His eyes were like a sea of thunder. "Do you really think you can do anything to me? You can't do anything to me." Moksha looked coldly at Du Xiaofu. Demonic qi gushed out from his eyes as he gritted his teeth. When his voice fell, a purple electric arc suddenly spun in his right palm. Boom! Following the appearance of this purple lightning arc, a strange aura suddenly spread throughout the entire void. Almost at the same time, the space in the surroundings began to tremble. In that instant, a feeling of extreme danger began to spread in the air. The purple electric arc suddenly spiraled in the void in front of Moksha. In this short moment, a thick purple thundercloud suddenly surged in this space. Whoosh! Within the purple thundercloud, bright electric arcs filled the air, and a huge aura that made one's heart palpitate swept out. At this moment, all the living beings present felt their hearts palpitating. Purple lightning profound cauldron. Feeling this aura, Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly twitched. The purple lightning profound cauldron in his god's watchtower suddenly buzzed, as if it wanted to break out of his body. Boom! The void trembled. In the void in front of Moksha, purple electric arcs shone brightly, and then turned into a huge three-legged cauldron that was hundreds of meters in size. Mysterious lightning runes spread across it, and it was exactly the same as the purple lightning profound cauldron in Du Xiaofu's god's watchtower. Divine lightning cauldron, that's the divine lightning cauldron. At this moment, countless experts in the surrounding void looked at the three-legged cauldron, and their faces changed. The old figures floating in the void, the powerful existences entrenched on the mountain peaks, suddenly exuded a shocking aura, and their eyes were filled with shock. Chapter 1763. Divine Lightning Cauldron. Li Qinfa of the Nine Great Families, Qin Tianshi, Old Man Dai Pai, Icy Ink, Old Monster Xinghun, and the dragons, as well as the other top experts from the various major forces, all had a change in expression. Especially to the people of the Nine Great Families, the Divine Lightning Cauldron had a special meaning. With the 9 cauldrons gathered, they could command the 9 great families, and only then could the 9 great families truly appear. Little Xingxing and Du Tingxian were about to make a move against Mo Lingzi when they saw the Divine Lightning Cauldron appear. The terrifying pressure rippled through the void, vast and mighty, and their gazes were fixed on it. In an instant, everyone's gaze fell on the divine lightning cauldron that filled the sky with purple lightning arcs. Zizi, the huge cauldron spun, distorting the surrounding space. The cauldron's mouth was like a black hole, and the surrounding purple lightning clouds were surging endlessly. The entire sky changed color, and the clouds were densely packed together. Rumble! Streaks of lightning filled the heart-palpitating lightning, and the entire sky seemed to have turned into the darkness before dawn. The terrifying purple lightning enveloped the heavens and earth, and a monstrous aura of destruction spread out from the purple lightning clouds, rippling through the Qin Huang mainland. Terrifying destructive energy fluctuations spread out from the purple lightning, and the surrounding space, along with the ZZZZ, began to crack inch by inch. Too terrifying, the divine lightning cauldron's power is too strong. Under the terrifying destructive might of the lightning, all the living beings present were stunned, and they all felt a chill spreading from the bottom of their hearts. In front of the shocking might of the lightning, their souls trembled. "You can't do anything to me." Moksha was in the sky, shrouded in purple lightning arcs of destruction. That was the purple gold profound lightning, and the injuries on his body were rapidly recovering under the lightning arcs. In an instant, the aura on his body seemed to have recovered by quite a bit. Moksha's eyes were filled with lightning arcs as he stared at Du Xiaofu. When his voice fell, the purple lightning clouds in the sky surged, and the lightning arcs converged into purple lightning, suddenly rushing out, and the dazzling purple lightning arcs poured down. Rumble! In a single moment, countless bolts of purple lightning fell from the sky, enveloping the surrounding space. They swept towards Du Xiaofu with unparalleled destructive power. It's too terrifying. No one below the Overlord region can resist it. Old monster Xing Hun, Bing Mo, and the others trembled as they sucked in a breath of cold air for Du Xiaofu. That kind of destructive lightning energy made one's hair stand on end and their hair stand on end. All the living beings present sucked in a breath of cold air for Du Xiaofu. However, for the old lady, Zhen Qingchun, Little Xingxing, Du Yunlong, Yi Piaoling, Jialo Juayu, and a few others, although they were shocked, they were not too worried about Du Xiaofu. Only they knew that Du Xiaofu also had a divine lightning cauldron. Rumble, it was too fast. The purple lightning bolts that blotted out the sky descended, and the entire space was filled with sharp sonic booms. Wherever the purple lightning bolts passed, the space collapsed and fell around Du Xiaofu. Many purple lightning bolts also struck Du Xiaofu. Gugu. Countless people sucked in a breath of cold air for Du Xiaofu. The purple lightning bolts that could severely injure a domain realm cultivator even if they didn't die fell from the sky. Would Du Xiaofu be able to resist them? Everyone watched as the purple lightning bolts fell. Purple lightning arcs erupted from the strange rock domain-like armor around Du Xiaofu and miraculously engulfed the purple lightning bolts. When the purple lightning bolts landed on Du Xiaofu, it was like a storm falling on the surface of a lake. Although they caused ripples, they were also swallowed up. Gugu. This scene made the surrounding people's throats dry up as they sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my God! Countless faces were stupefied and tongue-tied, dumbfounded. Du Xiaofu stood in the sky, unmoved. His lightning martial vein absorbed the purple gold profound lightning. With the help of the purple lightning cauldron, he could also continuously absorb the purple gold profound lightning. This made the purple gold profound lightning in the God's Watchtower roar with joy. Purple lightning cauldron? You know that I have one too. Looking at Mo Sha, the corners of Du Xiaofu's mouth curved into a smile. At the same time, he waved his hand and stretched it out. Purple electric arcs erupted from his palm. Amidst the resplendent electric arcs, a three-legged cauldron spiraled out. As if it had received some kind of summon, it instantly grew to several hundred feet in length and spiraled above the void, emitting rumbling sounds of lightning and thunder. Boom! At this moment, the sky trembled violently again. The purple lightning arcs intensified, and the purple lightning source surged. The destructive lightning aura that made the hearts of all living beings palpitate multiplied in an instant. Divine Lightning Cauldron. This is the second Divine Lightning Cauldron. Demon King Du Xiaofu has the second Divine Lightning Cauldron. Oh my God, that's two Divine Lightning Cauldrons. Suddenly, the sky boiled as two Divine Lightning Cauldrons appeared. The old figures present trembled violently. Divine Lightning Cauldron, that little bastard also has a Divine Lightning Cauldron. Li Qinfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, Gong Sunhua, and the other experts of legalism, dragons, and the school of vertical and horizontal were even more shocked. Divine Lightning Cauldron, this guy really hit it well. Huang Linge, Kong Sansi, and the others stood in the distance, wrapped in light. Their eyes shone with divine light as waves appeared in their eyes. Buzz buzz. Two purple lightning cauldrons appeared, and the sound of wind and thunder resounded. The sky above the Chenhuang mainland had completely turned into a sea of lightning. Lightning arcs flowed like waves in the ocean. Retreat, retreat quickly. The experts of the various mountain sects led the weaker disciples and descendants and quickly retreated. Under the destructive aura of the lightning, even more than 90% of the experts present were not qualified to be affected, let alone the descendants and disciples of the mountain sections. They did not dare to be implicated. It's indeed on you. At this moment, when he saw Du Xiaofu summon the purple lightning cauldron, Moksha's pale face flashed with a smile. With the 9 cauldrons gathered, can you fuse the second cauldron? Du Xiaofu stepped into the sea of lightning and looked at Moksha's purple lightning cauldron. He felt his own purple lightning cauldron roaring with joy, as if it instinctively wanted to fuse with the second cauldron. Go! Slightly raising his head, lightning rippled in his eyes. Du Xiaofu activated the purple lightning cauldron with all his might, wanting to fuse with the second purple lightning cauldron that had finally appeared. Come on! Moksha laughed sinisterly. Demonic chi rolled, rippling with purple gold lightning. He waved his sleeve and activated the purple lightning cauldron to resist. Rumble! The purple lightning cauldron exploded, and the sea of lightning surged. Purple lightning as thick as an arm continuously fell from the sky and landed on the ground, shattering mountains and boulders. Many creatures trembled in fear and retreated, not daring to resist. Buzz buzz. The 2 purple lightning cauldrons collided, spinning and roaring. The void trembled, and endless thunder erupted, shaking people's souls. At this moment, even the battle between Du Xiaoyao and Jialo Juexiao was affected. They had to retreat a little to avoid being affected by the purple lightning cauldron. Li Chunfa, Long Teng, Gong Sunhua, and the others' eyes twitched violently. That terrifying thunder made them tremble in fear. Du Xiaofu had the divine thunder cauldron and could still activate such terrifying power. This was definitely the last thing they wanted to see. At this moment, Du Xiaofu, who was already so powerful, had truly matured. Even if they intercepted him alone, it would be difficult to deal with him. Who is that mysterious man? He has demonic aura. Could he be from the devil religion? In the void, Elder D Pai frowned, his body wrapped in yellow light. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, has the divine thunder cauldron. With the 9 cauldrons gathered, he can command the 9 families. Elder Xing Hun was wrapped in starlight, his eyes rippling. Rumor has it that the other 8 divine thunder cauldrons fell into the hands of demons and were taken away by them. Now they are in the hands of that man. If he is from the devil religion, then the devil religion is undoubtedly left behind by the ancient demons. Bing Mo frowned and looked at the sky. She had been staring at the battle on the sea of lightning in the sky. The devil religion is related to the ancient demons. The old lady was sure that the appearance of the Demon King and people from the devil religion outside the golden-winged Great Rock clan was enough to prove that the devil religion was left behind by the ancient demons. The devil religion had revealed its true colors. Rumble! The 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons clashed, and the purple-gold profound thunder exploded, as if it was going to explode the sky. The terrifying power caused even the top experts present to shiver. One could imagine how terrifying this power was. However, everyone could feel that the divine thunder cauldron activated by Moksha was being suppressed and pushed back. Moksha's physical body was pushed back, and he spat out blood again. Moksha's face turned serious again, and his blood was surging. He knew that he had yet to truly control the purple lightning profound cauldron, and his indestructible Shen body was only half complete. He was still unable to truly control the purple lightning profound cauldron and achieve the indestructible Shen body. So you have yet to truly control it. Du Xiaofu's voice came out of the thunder. With the purple lightning profound cauldron, he could feel that Moksha had yet to truly control the purple lightning profound cauldron. He immediately used all his strength, and with the overwhelming purple-gold profound thunder, he blasted Moksha to suppress the second purple lightning profound cauldron. At this moment, the thunder exploded. Du Xiaofu had truly used all his strength to activate the purple lightning profound cauldron. Monstrous purple electric arcs shone brightly in the sky. The sky was roaring, and there were purple-gold thunderbolts falling, as if the heavenly thunder was descending. The sea of thunder was intense, and divine light was gushing out. At this moment, the sky was about to be overturned, and it was extremely terrifying. Moksha spat out blood again and retreated. His old injuries had yet to heal, and new ones were added to them. Moksha, you have nowhere to run today. Du Xiaofu shouted, wanting to capture Moksha and merge with the second purple lightning profound cauldron. Is that so? Unfortunately, I'm afraid you won't be able to do as you wish. Moksha smiled, and his pale face had the same smile as before. When his voice fell, he looked into the depths of the void. Unknowingly, dark clouds had gathered in the depths of the void, and in a very short time, they covered the sky. Chapter 1764. Translator, H2H2 Mr. Translator, H2H2 Mr. Suddenly, a huge crack appeared in the dark clouds in the sky, revealing a strange black light. Boom! Suddenly, a strange tremor appeared in the void. An evil aura rushed over, a murderous aura howling like the wind, and a black fog filled the sky. At this moment, all the super experts on the Chenhuang mainland seemed to have sensed something. They immediately looked up into the sky. In the corner of the crowd, a man in purple looked up. He was Jiangchen. His eyes rippled as he stared at the void. On a mountain peak in the distance, two mysterious figures wrapped in robes could be seen. However, their eyes were also rippling. Du Xiaofu also felt it, and his heart trembled for a moment. He suddenly looked up into the depths of the void. The dark clouds covered the sky and the sun, and the evil aura was oppressive. A huge black palm reached out from the crack, surrounded by demonic aura. Hula! This huge palm was accompanied by demonic aura. It had no vitality, but it was like the most evil thing in the world. It could make all the evil spirits in the 9 underworlds and the 18 levels of hell submit to it. This palm fell without a sound, but it was as if all the evil aura in the world had gathered at this moment. The moment this palm touched the purple gold profound bomb, it surged in all directions, and demonic aura poured out. Rumble. All of this was like a spark landing on hot oil, causing the ground beneath the void to crack in an instant. Crack, crack. The cracks on the ground spread like a spider web. Lakes rose and fell, lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and explosions rang out endlessly. This palm was too terrifying. It crushed everyone's hearts, and all the super experts present felt their souls tremble. Their souls surged with uneasiness. This huge palm was not afraid of the purple gold profound bomb. It reached out from the depths of the void, and the purple lightning surged. It was directly blasted away. The huge 5 fingers curled slightly and grabbed at Du Xiaofu's purple lightning profound cauldron. Du Xiaofu sensed that the huge palm had appeared for the purple lightning profound cauldron. But at this moment, Du Xiaofu's profound energy was frozen under the vast and terrifying aura, and his peerlessly powerful soul core seemed to be at a loss as well. He was imperceptibly affected by this terrifying aura. However, at this moment, the mysterious incomplete cultivation technique in Du Xiaofu's Naiwen Palace began to circulate by itself. It was filled with an ancient aura, causing his primordial spirit to shudder. It was as if he had been reborn. The 9 revolutions divine Lei Lian exploded with lightning. The spiritual roots in his primordial spirit and the 4 bolts of spiritual thunder also exploded. How dare you? Du Xiaofu shouted. In a split second, he activated the purple lightning profound cauldron with all his might. Vast purple gold lightning surged out and swept towards the giant palm. In the depths of the void, there seemed to be a soft cry of surprise from a distant space. However, the giant palm was not obstructed at all. It continued to descend and crush towards Du Xiaofu's purple lightning profound cauldron, distorting a large part of the void. The huge force crushed the purple lightning profound cauldron and also crushed Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. A vast and boundless force hit Du Xiaofu's body. Puff! This force was unstoppable and too vast. It caused Du Xiaofu to spit out a mouthful of golden blood that did not dissipate. The azure spirit armor on his body also dimmed and was about to crack. Screech! The rock's cry pierced through the clouds and cracked the stones. A gigantic golden-winged rock that was thousands of feet long soared into the sky, shining with golden light and bursting with endless light. It rushed into the void thunder sea and charged towards the giant palm. This was the original body of the old lady, Jialo Maluo. She intervened to protect Du Xiaofu. The giant palm crushed down without any hesitation. Monstrous demonic chi was released, as if it could envelop the old lady's huge body. That vast and boundless force was not something the old lady could block at all. Puff! The golden light on the old lady's body dimmed. Her feathers cracked and she spat out blood. Her huge body fell from the void and crashed into the mountain peak, destroying countless mountains. The giant demonic chi palm was unstoppable and was about to crush Du Xiaofu's purple lightning profound cauldron. This world will not let you run amok. Suddenly, a voice reverberated in the void. From the 5 directions of the north, south, east, west, and central, 5 dazzling beams of energy shot out from the void and finally converged above the void thunder sea. 5 dazzling beams of energy intertwined from 5 directions and converged into a sharp void sword. It shone brightly and bloomed in the world. Ancient runes rippled and intertwined, traversing the void. This sharp void sword seemed to have descended from ancient times. It pierced through the void and could cut through the heavens as it swept past the giant palm. Whoosh! At this moment, the unstoppable palm finally collapsed, turning into monstrous demonic chi that dispersed in the void. Eastern deity, Western demon, Southern Ru, Northern addict, and Central Tongshan. Are the 5 of you still alive? A lifeless voice came from the crack in the dark clouds. It reverberated in the heavens and earth. It's a pity that those people back then are all dead. You juniors can't stop me. As the lifeless voice fell, demonic chi billowed into the heavens. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, and a 12-leaf black lotus appeared in the void. It was 1,000 feet in size and countless shadows of evil spirits gushed out. They appeared in a frenzy and the cries of ghosts and gods reverberated in the heavens and earth. You didn't succeed back then. You won't get what you want this time either. The voice in the void was ethereal. Above the 5 dazzling beams of sword chi, countless beams of sword chi burst out. It was like the sun in the sky, blazing and intertwining. The dense sword chi filled the void thunder sea with countless ancient runes. At the same time, countless ancient techniques and secret techniques were unleashed. In such a battle, the attackers did not even appear. However, the entire Chenhuang mainland was already surging tides. The earth shook, the mountains moved, and the rivers flowed in reverse. Woo-woo, demonic chi wreaked havoc. All of a sudden, something in the heavens and earth seemed to have been awakened. It was as if it was summoning all the evil spirits in the heavens and earth to submit. The earth trembled and let out a low rumble. Dark clouds billowed and demonic chi filled the heavens. It was as if countless ferocious beasts were roaring and howling, wanting to rush out from the dark underground. Endless sword chi was destroying the demonic chi and purifying everything. The 12-leaf black lotus fluctuated with radiance. Black runes revolved around it, and it was filled with a destructive aura. Wang wang. Wind and thunder rumbled. The heavens and earth were turning upside down. This kind of pressure was too terrifying and shocking. It was so terrifying that even super-existences like Old Monster Xing Hun, Li Chenfa, Qin Tianshi, Icy Ink, and Old Man Di Pai were trembling in fear and retreated. Even they were unable to be affected by that kind of mighty pressure. The heavens were torn apart as if it was about to explode. Demonic chi gushed out, and the cries of ghosts and gods could be heard. The sword chi swept out with divine light and shattered the void. It was extremely terrifying. Rumble, rumble. High up in the sky, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The 12-leaf black lotus appeared and revolved, pushing the sword chi out. It also erupted with a huge devouring power. Then, it wrapped around Mo Lingzi, Jialo Juelye, Moksha, and his purple lightning profound cauldron and gradually disappeared from the heavens. Eastern deity, Western demon, Southern Ru, Northern addict, Middle Tongshan, you few juniors can't hold on for much longer. When I recover, this world will turn into a demonic domain. You all will be the first to be annihilated. A lifeless voice was heard. The voice was low and deep. It clearly came from the crack in the dark clouds, but it sounded like it came from the 9 nether underworlds. Woo-woo. When that voice disappeared, the demonic chi and the billowing demonic chi in the heavens also gradually disappeared into the depths of the heavens. That endless sword qi also disappeared, and the heavens above the Qinhuang mainland also began to return to normal. Goo goo. The heavens and earth were dead silent, and all living beings felt their hairs stand on end. That terrifying power just now had shocked every single living being. Compared to it, they were nothing. So there was still such a strong existence in this world. Grandmother, Sacred Elder, Jialo Kaling, Jialo Jueyu, and the disciples of the golden-winged Great Pring clan immediately pounced on the heavily injured Jialo Mola. The old lady's huge body was bleeding from the demonic qi. Even someone as powerful as her was unable to move due to the demonic qi. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in the heavens. When the purple lightning profound cauldron was released, he immediately put it back into his body. He opened his mouth and spat out another mouthful of blood. Western Demon. Looking into the depths of the heavens, Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. He had heard of such a name when he was in Shangzhou. Grandmother. In the next instant, Du Xiaofu and little Xingxing rushed to the old lady's side. Her face was as pale as ash, and blood was flowing out of her mouth. Great-grandmother, quickly take the treasure medicine. Little Xingxing's little hand was holding a bright treasure medicine. He immediately handed it to the old lady. His young face and clear eyes were filled with anxiety and worry. Good child, you seem to have improved a lot. The old lady stroked the back of little Xingxing's head. She took the treasure medicine and swallowed it. Then she asked Du Xiaofu, Child, are you all right? I'm fine. You should treat your injuries first. Du Xiaofu nodded. His injuries were fine, but he was worried about the old lady's injuries. The old lady was heavily injured because she wanted to help him. Ju Qi has already fused with the demonic bone. The old lady opened her mouth. Her eyes were serious and complicated. Du Xiaofu interrupted the old lady. He knew what the old lady wanted to say. He said, I already know everything. Don't worry and treat your injuries first. We'll talk about this later. Du Tingxian Du Xiaofu, come out and die. Suddenly, a sharp voice filled with killing intent was heard. A vast aura swept across the sky. Chapter 1765. His voice rang out, resounding through the void that had just been silent for a short while. Instantly, countless gazes turned towards the source of the voice. Rumble! A vast aura surged, causing the winds to blow and clouds to churn. From the three great clans, Legalism, Dragons, and School of Vertical and Horizontal, experts led by Li Chunfa, Long Teng, Qin Tianshi, and Gong Sun Hua flew out one after another. Du Tingxian, Du Xiaofu, you and your father will die today. Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, and Gong Sun Hua shouted with undisguised killing intent. Seeing that the old lady, Garuda Mola, and Du Xiaofu were heavily injured, this was the best opportunity for them. This is going to be fun. Instantly, the surrounding figures retreated, causing violent fluctuations. Regarding the grudge between the Dragons, Legalism, School of Vertical and Horizontal, and Du Xiaofu, there were probably not many experts gathered in the Qinhuang mainland who did not know about it. There were also people who had long speculated that after the Divine Dominion closed, the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, would be besieged by the Dragons, Legalism, and other experts. As expected, Legalism, Dragons, and School of Vertical and Horizontal would definitely not let this matter rest. Taking advantage of the fact that Garuda Mola of the Golden-Winged Rocks and Du Xiaofu were heavily injured, Legalism, Dragons, and School of Vertical and Horizontal would definitely not let this go. They would definitely want to kill Du Xiaofu. My father and my life, do you still want to take it? Du Tingxian soared through the air, his silhouette ramrod straight. His hair fluttered in the wind as the sounds of dragons and snakes could be faintly heard. Lightning erupted from his body as an armor of lightning enveloped him. Rumbling sounds rang out in the air, akin to heavenly drums and heavy hammers, causing the hearts of the experts present to pound. Nirvana Peak. An old man spoke. He could sense the terrifying aura emanating from Du Tingxuan's body. Oh my God, Du Tingxian is so strong. Everyone's hearts and souls trembled, and waves of shock appeared in their eyes. Worthy of being the Demon King's father, he was terrifying to the extreme. When they felt Du Dingshuan's aura, Ling Ting, Gong Sun Hua, Li Chenfa, and the rest of the people from the three great clans could not help but shudder. It wasn't just the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, whose growth was frightening. Du Tingxian was also frightening. Du Tingxian, I'm afraid you're still too weak. Li Chenfa's eyes twitched fiercely. This was outside the Divine Dominion, the Qinhuang mainland. They wouldn't be suppressed in any way. Although a Nirvana peak stage expert was strong, it wasn't enough to contend against them. Shameless old thing, what if you count us in? A shout rang out. Du Xiaoyao had unknowingly put away her enormous red-bone horse monkey body and stood beside Du Tingxian at the same time as little Xingxing. Rumble! At this moment, little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao's Nirvana peak stage aura swept out without holding back, and the pressure was impressive. It's Du Xiaoyao and the Purple Dragon Emperor, those two freaks. Everyone's eyes trembled. For those present, there were only a few people who didn't know how terrifying Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing were. Do you think there's no one in my Huang country? Three figures descended at the same time. They were Mo Tianxiao, Miemeng Wang, and Thunder Eagle King. Rumble! 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 The void trembled as another three terrifying auras shook the void. It was another three Nirvana peak stage experts. Rumble! Almost at the same time, a series of trembling sounds exploded like firecrackers. Sovereigns like Du Yunlong, Yi Piaoling, Dai Xingyu, Dong Li Qingqing, and Su Muxin joined in. There were also Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Ouyang Shuang, Yi Zijin, Qian Guyu, the 17 Celestial Generals, Zhen Qingchun, Du Xiaoman, Jade Fairy, Purple Sky Venerable, Silver Wing Demonic Condor, Gui Che, Guqin Demon, and other experts whose strength had skyrocketed flew out together. Their mighty auras swept through the 9 heavens. Brr! Demonic beasts roared. Ancient demonic beasts like Yunzhan, Jiangfeng, Donghu, and Qi Dragon, as well as over 100 beast realm ancient demonic beast kings, all transformed into their true forms in an instant. They swept through the sky and roared like thunder. In addition, there were also experts like Du Yu, Du Shui, Du Hao, Blue Fantasy, and Scarlet Rock. Rumble! A storm swept through, and a muffled sound like thunder. In an instant, the void, which had just calmed down, was stirred up again. It was terrifying. At this moment, the desolate nation had a large number of Nirvana sovereigns. The domain realm cultivators were even more shocking. Other than Yunzhan and Jiangfeng, Gui Che, Phantom Tiger King, Guqin Demon, Little Ying, the 18 Celestial Generals, Du Shui General, and Gu Xinyan had all broken through to the martial domain realm. In total, there were more than 200 of them. With more than 200 martial domain realm cultivators, such a terrifying lineup was enough to rank them among the top forces in the world. It was enough to be compared with the 9 great families. Such a lineup shocked the world. Oh my God, the desolate nation is already so powerful. Everyone's eyes were trembling, and their hearts were trembling. At that moment, the desolate country's lineup had shocked the entire Qinhuang mainland in a terrifying manner. It had shocked the world. Li Chenfa, Long Teng, Gong Sun Hua, and the other members of the 3 great families had complicated expressions. Some of them even turned pale, and their eyes twitched violently. In the void, the desolate nation's lineup was too shocking. It was too terrifying, and it was enough to defeat Kyushu. Even the old lady, 4th Elder Jialo Yi, 5th Elder Jialo Yuantu, and the other experts of the great golden-winged Peng clan were stunned. It was as if they were deeply shocked by the desolate nation's lineup. In the void, Du Xiaojing stood in the air. Her eyes were rippling, her dress fluttered, and her hair danced. However, Du Xiaojing's beautiful figure did not move in the end. She only stood in the distance and watched. No one saw that Du Xiaojing's hands were tightly clenched under her long sleeves. Li Chenfa, Qin Tianshi, and the others had ugly expressions. They had thought that with the old lady, Jialo Maoyuo, severely injured, they would be able to defeat Du Tingxian and Du Xiaofu. They did not expect that they would attract so many terrifying people. Especially Shi Tianlang, Mo Tianxiao, Thunderhawk King, Miemeng Wang, and Dong Li Qingqing. Their auras made Li Chunfa and the others even more shocked. These terrifying people were too young, but they were already so terrifying at such a young age. Could it be that they all had a peerless demeanor? They wouldn't be inferior to Qin Wudi, Long San and Gong Sun Wuji, whom their clans were proud of and regarded as the revitalization of their clan. With such a group of people, with their speed of growth, it would not be long before the legalism, dragons, and school of vertical and horizontal lost their advantage. Kill, we must kill them all. While they were shocked, Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, and Gong Sun Hua looked at each other. They had a tacit understanding in their hearts. If they did not kill such a threat, it would be their turn to suffer in the future. Even if they had to pay a price today, they had to get rid of this future threat. Old thing, I said that I would destroy your clones in the divine dominion and kill your true bodies. Can't wait any longer? Du Xiaofu wiped the faint traces of blood from the corner of his mouth. He walked out from the old lady's side and crossed the void to stand beside his alcoholic father, Du Tingxian. Behind Du Xiaofu were 4th Elder Jialo Yi, 5th Elder Jialo Yuantu, 3rd Elder, 2nd Elder, Jialo Juyu, Jialo Kaling, Jialo Juekong, and the others. They represented the stance of the great golden-winged rocks. At this moment, Li Chunfa, Long Teng, Gong Sun Hua, Qin Tianshi, and the others did not pose much of a threat to Du Xiaofu. It was not because of the people around him. Du Xiaofu was able to discern that even though Li Chunfa and the others had lost a soul clone and suffered heavy injuries, they were still experts at the Overlord realm in the end. The outside world wasn't the god domain, so they wouldn't be suppressed at all. However, Du Xiaofu had something to rely on. With the 3 blazing lightning bombs in his hand, it was more than enough to deal with Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, and Gong Sun Hua. There are quite a few of you, but it's a pity that it's still not enough. Long Teng's eyes twitched. When he saw Du Xiaofu, anger rose in his heart. Losing a soul core clone was such a heavy injury, and it was the greatest price he'd paid in his entire life. His foundation had been destroyed, so how could he not be furious? Little bastard, you're courting death. Li Chunfa's face was extremely gloomy as coldness shot out from his eyes. Even though the Desolate Kingdom had several hundred domain realm experts, Du Tingxian and the others were only at the peak of the Nirvana realm. Even the strongest of them were not enough to make them fear them. Sometimes, having more people was not necessarily useful. At their level of cultivation, it was more important to be stronger. Legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, don't forget the oath your ancestors made. Du Xiaofu has the divine lightning cauldron. Do you still dare to attack him? Elder Di Chu spoke as he looked around. Then, Ancestor Bing Mo and Ancestor Xing Hun walked out. Behind Elder Di Chu, Bing Mo, and Xing Hun were the experts of the School of Agriculture, School of Moism, and School of Yinyang. Zhou Xiaoluo, Mo Runan, Sima Muhan, Qi Yeshi, Qi Jejun, and the others stepped out together. Their auras shook the sky. Gudian Munchu, Gu Qingyang, Sima Taxing, In Machin, Xiang Ling, Shui Ruhan, and the others followed behind the School of Moism. The stance of these 3 families was very clear. They were going to be on the same side as the Desolate Kingdom. They were not afraid of legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons. Divine Lightning Cauldron. However, Old Man Dichu's words caused the experts from the 9 great families to be secretly moved. The gathering of the 9 cauldrons would command the 9 great families. As experts of the 9 great families, it was impossible for them not to know. Li Chunfa, Gong Sun Hua, and Qin Tianxi's eyes flickered. They had naturally thought of this, and it was the last thing they wanted to see. Gathering the 9 cauldrons is the only way to command the 9 great families. It's just a divine lightning cauldron, it doesn't mean anything. Gong Sun Hua said with a cold expression. Gathering the 9 cauldrons was the only way to command the 9 great families. Also, the divine lightning cauldron is in the hands of the devil religion and the ancient demons. There is a divine lightning cauldron outside, and it is now in Du Xiaofu's possession. The demons have appeared, and the calamity has come. Have you forgotten the teachings of your ancestors? Xing Hun looked directly at Li Chunfa, Gong Sun Hua, and the others. Starlight rippled, and the qi of yin and yang circulated. This has nothing to do with the teachings of our ancestors. A divine lightning cauldron does not mean anything. It can fall into anyone's hands. Li Chunfa looked at Xing Hun, then slowly glanced at Elder Di Chu and Bing Mo. He called out their names. Xing Hun, Bing Mo, Di Chu are the school of Yin Yang, school of Moism, and school of agriculture declaring war on legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons. Chapter 1766. Looks like the legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons are really shameless. Don't think that others don't know what you're planning. Let's start the war then. I'd like to see how many people from the legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons can still participate in the war. Old Monster Xing Hun said in a deep voice, his tone full of mockery. In the divine territory, the core cultivators of the legalism, dragons, and school of vertical and horizontal were almost all dead. The three major families had already suffered heavy losses. Furthermore, the school of agriculture, school of Mo, school of Yin Yang, desolate country, and the golden-winged great Pringbird tribe were all on par with them. Hearing old Monster Xing Hun's words, the school of Yin Yang and the rest were really determined to stand on the same side as the desolate country. Li Chunfa, Gong Sunhua, Long Teng, and the rest were also solemn, their gazes dark. Thank you, seniors. Du Xiaofu spoke, bowing and nodding to old Monster Xing Hun, Icy Ink, and old man Di Pai. Then, he looked at Li Chunfa and the rest, his eyes narrowed, and his lips curled into a cold smile. He did not hide his mockery as he said, Senior Xing Hun is right. I also want to know how many people from the legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons can still be sent to their deaths. Little bastard, do you think you can sit back and relax just because you have someone to protect you? Li Chunfa's face twitched as he stared at Du Xiaofu. The main culprit was right in front of him. If not for this little bastard, the legalism would not have ended up in this state. Countless people were killed, and many experts were killed. The entire legalism had suffered heavy losses, and it had already affected the fortunes of the legalism. You keep saying that my son is a little bastard, but don't forget that my son Xiaofu also has the bloodline of Ao Tong. If that's the case, it seems like you've long admitted that you're an old bastard. Du Tingshuan's voice was like thunder that resounded in all directions. His long hair and robe fluttered in the wind, and his entire body was wrapped in lightning. It was as if he had walked out from ancient times, as if an ancient god had descended. Du Tingxian had a resolute face. His long eyebrows slanted to his temples, and his thick and long eyelashes softened his originally firm and powerful facial features. However, the sharpness in his eyes could kill at this moment. He stared straight at Li Chunfa of legalism and said in a deep voice, That day, I said that when we father and son come out, it will be time for us to settle the score. Old bastard, don't talk too much. It's time for us to settle the score. When Du Tingxian scolds someone, he doesn't lack Du Xiaofu. They are indeed father and son. Hearing Du Tingshuan's words, many super experts in the surroundings secretly smiled. Under such circumstances, the majority of the people chose to watch. It had nothing to do with them. However, at this moment, the name Du Tingxian was no stranger to all the forces and living beings in the entire Chenhuang mainland. Not long ago, the name Du Tingxian had left behind countless legends in the entire central state. The Sky Snake sect and Spirit Sky Valley were destroyed at the same time in one day, shocking Kyushu. This was what Du Tingxian had done back then. Under the space of the divine domain, Du Tingxian destroyed his own cultivation and recultivated as a supreme nirvana. This was even more shocking. Bastard. However, hearing Du Tingshuan's words, Li Chunfa's eyes were burning with anger. That father and son pair had never put him in their eyes. His gaze was cold and filled with hatred as he said, Today, you father and son are dead meat. Legalism is nothing. How dare a loser like you shout at my new master? When my old master was still alive, killing your legalism people was like slaughtering dogs. Suddenly, from the direction of the central state, a voice like this shook the void. It was like thunder, shaking one's soul and making one tremble. Crackle. At the same time, lightning runes intertwined and mysterious runes bloomed. Then, amidst the dazzling waves of lightning, several figures appeared. The first one was an old man. His face was old and his aura was faint. However, the formless power was enough to make all living beings tremble in fear. His power was not below that of the Golden Rock clan's old lady, Giallo Mola. Behind the old man, 8 mysterious figures descended. Thunder and lightning burst out, and electric arcs blazed. Their bodies were wrapped in electric arcs, and their eyes were dazzling, as if they contained a sea of lightning. When they gathered together, their undisguised killing intent soared into the sky and shook the entire Chenhuang mainland. It's them. Immediately, someone recognized the 9 people. Among them, the 8 mysterious figures had descended to the central state and razed the Sky Snake sect and Spirit Sky Valley to the ground in a short time. They had also killed the ancestors of the Sky Snake sect and Spirit Sky Valley. Greetings, Master. The 8 mysterious figures appeared and bowed respectfully to Du Tingxian. The old man stepped forward and stood beside Du Tingxian. He bowed and said, "Greetings, new master." Ole. Du Tingxian nodded. He was very respectful to the old man. Only Li Chunfa's eyes were twitching. When he had descended to the stone city of the barren country in the central state, he wanted to destroy the Du family's fortune but was defeated. Although he had only heard the old man's voice and had not seen him, Li Chunfa knew that the old man was the one who had defeated him at the Du family. What a powerful aura. The Du family of the barren country has hidden such a powerful expert. The expressions of the super experts and elderly figures in the surroundings of the Chen desolate mainland secretly changed. That old man whom Du Tingxian had called Old Lei was someone that few people present could compare to. Who exactly are you? Li Chunfa asked in a gloomy voice. His eyes flickered as he gritted his teeth. My old master is Jin Lei Tensei. The new master is Du Tingxian of the Du family. You're just a junior. You can call me Master Lei. Old Lei said. His aura was calm, but his invisible aura was domineering. Jin Lei Tensei. When such a title was spread out, the gazes of countless people in the crowd rippled. Such a title was too shocking. It was said that Jin Lei Tensei had existed during the Great Calamity. It was even rumored that he could stand shoulder to shoulder with the strongest experts of the 9 great families. Not long ago, a mansion left behind by Jin Lei Tensei appeared on the Tianhuang mainland. Jin Lei Tensei was one of the top experts in the world, and it was enough to affect the world. The 9 great families also entered the competition. Especially among the younger generation, there were 13 outstanding dragons like Dragon 9, the 9th prince of the Dragon clan, Huang Linger of the Phoenix clan, Bailey Weia of the Ningzhou, Mu Jianxin of the Shangzhou, Qin Gu of the Laizhou prefecture, Hua Zimo of the Wanzhou prefecture, Feng Wuxie of the Yu prefecture, and Yu Zheng Tongxian of the Yunzhou prefecture. However, later on, the mansion of Jin Lei Tensei was closed. No one knew who had obtained the mansion left behind by Jin Lei Tensei. There were also people who guessed that the mansion left behind by Jin Lei Tensei was in the hands of Du Tingxian. However, these were all just guesses. At this moment, everything was revealed. The mansion left behind by Jin Lei Tensei was indeed in the hands of Du Tingxian. Jin Lei Tensei. The eyes of Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, and Gong Sunhua were also trembling. Such a title indeed made them wary. Back then, the 3 great clans had also fought for the mansion of Jin Lei Tensei, but they had all returned in defeat. Fortunately, Jin Lei Tensei had already fallen, and all that was left behind was the legacy. However, the legacy of Jin Lei Tensei would be exceptionally terrifying in the hands of a supreme martial artist like Du Tingxian. They could not help but be worried. Du Xiaofu and I have some connections. Whoever dares to touch him today, I don't mind interfering. Another calm voice was heard. At this moment, a figure silently appeared in the void. It was an old woman. As the figure appeared, the entire void trembled quietly. When he saw the old woman, Li Chunfa was once again dumbfounded. His expression was extremely gloomy. How could Li Chunfa forget that old woman? Back when he went to the Du family of the Barren country, he was also defeated by this old woman. It's her. She has finally shown herself. With the appearance of this old woman, many old figures in the void, including the old lady Giallo Mola and the others, were secretly moved. For the past few months, they had been sensing some obscure auras in the surroundings, and one of them was this old woman's aura. She seems to be from the Great Luan sect. Is she related to that clan? Some old figures murmured softly. Great Luan sect. In one of the groups, an old figure was secretly moving. This was an expert from a famous clan, and he seemed to be deep in thought. It's her. When the old woman appeared, Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. Naturally, he recognized this old woman. She was Dongli Qingqing's master. Dongli Qingqing was pleasantly surprised. Her beautiful figure flew out, graceful and elegant, like a fairy, and landed beside the old woman. When her master appeared and said that she wanted to intervene, Dongli Qingqing knew that this was probably her master's tacit approval. She was no longer trying to stop her like she did before. Good. There's hope. Sensing Dongli Qingqing's aura at this moment, the old woman said the word good 3 times in a row. On her wrinkled old face, her eyes were faintly moist. Senior. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes for a moment, then braced himself and stepped forward. There was no way he could avoid it. No matter what, Dongli Qingqing was his woman. The old woman glanced at Du Xiaofu, but her expression was much gentler than before. She nodded. Looks like legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons are done for this time. With the arrival of Elder Lei and the old woman, it was not difficult for the people present to feel that legalism, dragons, and school of vertical and horizontal had been suppressed. If they were to take action now, legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons would not be able to gain any advantage. Legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, it's time to pay the price. Du Tingxian said. He had endured for almost 30 years, and even stayed in the border stone city. However, legalism and school of vertical and horizontal had never truly let them go. Today, he was going to start his counterattack. Kiki. Looking at the desolate country's formation in the void, Li Chunfa sneered with confidence and disdain. He said, "Do you really think that's enough? You're a frog in a well. You're not enough, far from it." Boo. The heavens and earth trembled. A vast wave swept across the entire Qinhuang mainland, shaking the 9 heavens. It was as if the entire Qinhuang mainland was going to explode. Chapter 1767. What's going on? This huge fluctuation made the super experts and the many old figures floating in the void tremble. The terrifying aura was too shocking. In an instant, amidst everyone's astonishment, bright runes shone down from the void, illuminating the void that had long disappeared from the divine dominion. This vast aura and shocking movement was like the birth of a demon god. Woo! In an instant, the shadows of stars appeared in the void. Ferocious beasts roared and ferocious birds appeared. The strange phenomenon in the sky was unparalleled. It was as if a world had descended. At the same time, in that world, a resplendent figure appeared. He sat cross-legged in the air, and the surroundings were resplendent. It made him seem like a god, and his might had descended into the world. All the living beings in the Qinhuang mainland felt the pressure from the depths of their souls. They wanted to worship him. Divine Ancestor. When the figure appeared in the void, Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, and the other legalism experts trembled. They were pleasantly surprised and bowed. Saint Martial Realm. Elder Lei stared at the space in front of him. Such a vast aura caused even his body to ripple with lightning. His wrinkled face immediately furrowed. Legalism's divine ancestor, that's a Saint Martial Realm expert. The void in the distance was boiling. The old figures and super experts were also suppressed. They did not dare to occupy the same void as him. They were suppressed, and their eyes were filled with shock. Saint Martial Realm. When these words landed in Du Xiaofu's ears, his heart and soul trembled. That vast and mighty aura caused Du Xiaofu's soul to tremble, and he wanted to worship it. It was a kind of incomparably vast and unstoppable pressure that permeated the air. The Saint Martial realm was a level that only existed in legends. It was only a legend in the current world. It was rumored that an existence like the Saint Martial realm could kill millions of people in a fit of anger. They could destroy the heavens and earth. They could even make the sun and moon irrelevant. And now, the legendary Saint Martial realm appeared in the void. That pressure was enough to make all the living beings tremble. They did not dare to speak. Walala, at the same time, a ball of fire silently appeared in the distance. It was like a meteor falling from the sky, silently appearing on the Chenhuang mainland. Flames were spreading in the void. The flames were illusory and were not bright flames. However, they burned the void until it was a blur. A figure could be seen standing in the middle of the blurry flames. His aura was not any weaker than that of the divine ancestor of legalism. Oh, at the same time, in the distant horizon of the four seas, a dragon's roar resounded through space. In the next instant, the sea of clouds in the sky roiled and raging flames filled the air. In an instant, a gigantic dragon of immeasurable length appeared in the distant sky. Half of the dragon's body appeared, and its claws could tear through the void. Half of the dragon's body appeared in the sea of clouds in the sky, and the tail could not be seen. This giant dragon appeared, its entire body covered in raging flames. It was incomparably red as it stretched across the void. On its sinister head, the dragon's eyes were like red black holes that overlooked all living things. The raging flames covered the dragon's scales, but it gave off a feeling that it was as tough as steel. The dragon's eyes seemed to be able to devour the world. All living things could not help but be shocked. The appearance of such a giant dragon was indescribably huge, and all living things could not help but feel a chill run down their spines. Oh! When such a giant dragon appeared, all the monsters in the surroundings roared and prostrated. Greetings, divine ancestor. Greetings, divine ancestor. When such a giant dragon and an illusory figure descended, the dragons, Long Teng, Gong Sun Hua, and the others immediately bowed with smiles on their faces. Gugu. When such a giant dragon and two terrifying figures appeared on the Chenhuang mainland, all living things could not help but gulp. Those with lower cultivation levels began to worship them directly. Holy Martial Realm, 2 Holy Martial Realm experts, and a holy dragon. In order to kill Du Tingxian and Du Xiaofu, the legalism, the dragons, and the school of vertical and horizontal are going all out. This is the ultimate strength. The Holy Martial Realm, this is the true strength of the 9 great families. Everyone in the void was shocked, and countless gazes were trembling. At this moment, just the pressure that these 3 figures brought about was enough to make people unable to not prostrate themselves in worship. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. This was the true strength of the 9 great families. In the face of such pressure, Du Xiaofu felt that he was no match for them. The Holy Martial Realm was an existence that surpassed everything. It was so strong that it was indescribable. Du Xiaofu deeply felt that he was insignificant. They're really going all out. The old lady, Garuda Mola, raised her head. Her pale face was filled with coldness. Not good. The legalism, the dragons, and the school of vertical and horizontal are already prepared. They're going all out to deal with Du Tingxian and Du Xiaofu. I see Ink, Elder Dai Pai, Xing Hun, and the other experts' faces changed. They had already thought of the legalism and the school of vertical and horizontals Li Chunfa. They definitely wouldn't let Du Tingxian and Du Xiaofu go so easily. However, they didn't expect the legalism to send out Holy Martial Realm experts. Xing Hun, IC Inc., Elder Dai Pai, and the others were the ancestors of the 9 great families. They knew what it meant to send out Holy Martial Realm experts. The appearance of Holy Martial Realm experts represented the legalism. The school of vertical and horizontal and the dragons were really going all out. At this moment, they couldn't inform their families in time. Rumble. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from the sky. From the end of the void, a dazzling ink-black rune swept out, turning into a rain of light that undulated in the void. Walala, the dazzling ink-black rune fluctuated, revealing a kind of mystery of the world. Between the heaven and earth, there was a trace of chaotic chi. In that great calamity, the sun and the moon fell, the stars collapsed, and countless almighty experts died. In the blink of an eye, time has passed and the sea has turned into mulberry fields. The old voice reverberated between heaven and earth, as if it had transcended the ancient time and space. When the voice slowly spread, a smile appeared on little Xingxing's face. "Xian Gu, do you want to intervene?" The huge raging flame red dragon looked into the depths of the void and roared. "The great calamity has arrived. The ancient demon has appeared. Stop fighting and resist the calamity." The old figure was faint, and then a huge blurry shadow of a giant turtle appeared in the sky. It seemed to have lived for countless years and could overlook the mortal world. This giant tortoise was also at the Saint Realm. Looking at it from afar, one could feel that it had once shaken the mountains and rivers, created legends, and dominated the world. It was one of the most powerful existences left in the world. It's that legendary old turtle. It's still alive and hasn't returned to the dust. It's reappeared. The experts of the beast region trembled. To the experts of the beast region, the old turtle was a taboo existence. After so many years, the old turtle was still alive. It was hard to believe and it shocked them. What if we must attack? The school of vertical and horizontal's divine ancestor looked at the giant turtle. Flames flickered in the blurry void. His voice was calm, but it was powerful without anger. He had had countless glorious days, and once looked down on the world. "If you must attack, then I can only stretch these old bones," said the old turtle. It seemed calm, boundless, and faint, but its formless power was astonishing. It had once intimidated the ancient era and made the great powers tremble. Its calm words were a deep warning. "Old turtle, it seems you want to become enemies with us, the school of legalism, the school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons. Could it be that you want to fight against the three of us by yourself?" A grand aura rippled in the void. The figure sitting cross-legged opened his eyes. His gaze was like a rising sun, and the surrounding void began to boil. "Legalism, dragons, and the school of vertical and horizontal, so what? Who do you think you are? Do you think I'm dead?" His voice pierced the clouds and cracked stone, and rumbled like thunder. In an instant, golden light filled the sky from the direction of the beast region. A golden sea appeared in the void, and golden ripples spread out like a tide. Walala, along with it, a vast and domineering aura swept out. Golden light shot out in all directions, and a terrifying aura swept out. Chapter 1768. Screech. The cry of a rock resounded. Amidst the surging tide of golden light, the image of a golden-winged rock flapped its wings and flew over. It was like a golden torrent that hung in the sky, and it carried a peerlessly domineering and fierce aura. This golden-winged rock was too huge, much bigger than the old Granny Giallo Mola's body. Just the spread of its golden wings was enough to block out the sun. Golden talisman patterns flickered, emitting a blazing light as it soared into the sky. Rumble. In an instant, such a golden-winged rock appeared, and its ferocious aura spread out. Even the sky was trembling, and it was terrifying. What a powerful aura! The elderly figures in the surrounding space were all shocked. The pressure that radiated from the enormous golden-winged Great Peng made the surrounding experts of the Beast Clan want to prostrate themselves on the ground and tremble. The terrifying pressure was far too powerful. Du Xiaofu cultivated the golden-winged rock technique, so he could feel how terrifying the aura at this moment was. It made his rock blood boil. The pressure exuded by the enormous great golden-winged Peng was even greater than the auras of the Saint Martial Realm cultivators. It was even more domineering than the auras of the Saint Martial Realm cultivators. "Greetings, old chief. Greetings, grandfather. Greetings." In the lineup of the Golden-Winged Rock clan, all the elders, Jialo Kaling, Jialo Jueyu, and the others immediately bowed to the golden-winged rock that covered the sky. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu was a little dumbfounded. "Xiaofu, this is grandfather. He has been in seclusion in the clan all this time. It was grandmother who asked grandfather to come out a long time ago, afraid that legalism and the dragons would do anything to deal with you. Jialo Kaling's voice transmission also fell into Du Xiaofu's ears. Du Xiaofu's heart was filled with warmth. The golden-winged great rocks treated him wholeheartedly. The old lady had long predicted this situation and had informed the old clan leader. In fact, the one who came was also his convenient god-grandfather. "Greetings, grandfather." Shocked, Du Xiaofu immediately bowed. Under that unparalleled and domineering pressure, the rock blood in his body boiled. The huge rock flew across the sky. Its huge eyes were like the sun, shining with golden light. Like golden lightning, its gaze landed on Du Xiaofu. It said, "So it's you, kid? Don't worry, with me here, no one can touch you." His voice was incomparably domineering, causing Du Xiaofu's eardrums to tremble. "You want to touch my golden-winged great rocks? Let me see if you're strong enough." The gigantic golden-winged great prng spread its wings and soared into the sky. Its voice was like thunder. Two golden lightning-like eyes shot out like golden lightning, staring straight at the blazing scarlet dragon and legalism. The Saint Martial Realm expert of the school of Zhongheng seemed to have the intention to fight 1 against 3. Seeing the golden-winged great Pang and the blazing scarlet dragon, the Saint Martial Realm experts of the school of legalism and the school of Zhongheng all had unsightly expressions. "Oh no, this is going to be an earth-shattering battle." All the creatures present were trembling. At that moment, holy martial realm experts and holy beasts had appeared one after another. A great battle was already unavoidable. Once such experts fought, the sky would collapse and the earth would rend. It would engulf the world and turn it into a great calamity. "Hey, it's been a long time since I've seen such a huge dragon. If I roasted it, it would definitely taste good." Right when the Saint Realm experts were about to make a move, a voice resounded from the distance. Then, as everyone looked at each other in surprise, a figure appeared in the sky. It was a sloppy old man in ragged clothes, with a few strands of grass in his white hair. He stared curiously at the blazing scarlet dragon. Compared to the blazing flame scarlet dragon, the sloppy figure seemed incomparably small. However, saliva dripped from his mouth as if he really wanted to roast the dragon. However, when this sloppy figure appeared, the gazes of many people present seemed to have been struck by lightning, and huge waves rose in their eyes. Li Qinfa, Qin Tianshi, and the other school of legalism had their eyes twitching. This was especially true for Li Qinfa and Qin Tianshi. Huge waves rose in their hearts. Back then, that sloppy figure had ruthlessly slapped them before swaggering off. Gu Qingyang and the others also had their faces changed. They had seen this person outside the sealed ancient land in the central prefecture. Fu Yibai. Du Xiaofu was also a little stunned. Who else could that sloppy figure be other than the elusive Fu Yibai? Du Shui, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, and the other Du family disciples were also dumbfounded. They stared at Fu Yibai for a long time. Fu Yibai, who used to sweep the floor of the Du family, wanted to roast a dragon as soon as he came out. Moreover, he wanted to roast a holy dragon. How could they not be shocked? "Puny human, you're courting death." The sacred dragon responded to Fu Yibai with a thunderous dragon roar. Its dragon breath gushed out and turned into a terrifying storm. It soared with a dragon shadow and swept towards Fu Yibai. As a sacred dragon, no one had ever looked down on a sacred dragon. This human wanted to roast it, which was the greatest disrespect and contempt to it. It wanted to use the simplest and most direct method to prove that its prestige was inviolable. Roar. The dragon breath was violent, like the descent of heavenly fire. In an instant, it swept towards Fu Yibai, causing the space to crumble. Countless people in the surroundings were on tenterhooks. Not good. Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Du Yu, and Du Shui sucked in a breath of cold air because of Fu Yibai. However, with their cultivation and strength, they did not even have the ability to react, let alone intervene. But at that moment, under countless horrified gazes, Fu Yibai's face and hair didn't even flutter in the terrifying storm of dragon breath. He waved his sleeve slightly, and the terrifying dragon breath dissipated in the void as his shabby sleeve swept past. Whoosh! It was also at this moment that Fu Ibai's figure also vanished. Everyone looked at each other with horror and bewilderment. When Fu Ibai reappeared, he was already in the void above the blazing scarlet dragon's back. Roar! The sacred dragon seemed to have sensed it. It opened its mouth and roared. Its dragon scales glowed as it roared incessantly. Raging flames surged and shook the heavens. Even that old fellow from the Azure Dragon lineage has to behave in front of me. How dare a mixed-blood dragon like you attack me? How dare you? Fu Ibai spoke as his figure descended. It seemed slow and light, but strangely he appeared on the back of the blazing scarlet dragon. Chila! In the next instant, Fu Ibai directly grabbed at the gigantic dragon body and flipped off a huge flaming dragon scale. It was pulled out along with a few dozen kilograms of dragon blood, causing the dragon blood to spurt out in all directions. Roar! The raging flame scarlet dragon roared. It was also in great pain. Its enormous dragon body rolled about, causing the void to collapse. Behave yourself! Fu Ibai stomped his foot and the sacred dragon's back was in a terrible state. The dragon scales cracked one after another. Then, Fu Ibai appeared on the sacred dragon's head. He held the blazing scarlet dragon's forked dragon horn and shouted, "Behave yourself! Otherwise, I'll pull out your dragon horn." Roar! Fu Ibai's words made the blazing scarlet dragon roar again. However, it immediately behaved itself and did not dare to move. The entire void was stunned and horrified. Such a sloppy old man looked so weak, but he was able to trample a sacred dragon. No one dared to believe it. Was that really a sacred dragon? A sacred dragon was like a small snake in front of that sloppy old man. Was this real? Many people looked at each other. Some rubbed their eyes in disbelief, thinking that they had seen wrongly. At this moment, perhaps only the sacred dragon could truly experience Fu Ibai's strength. It unleashed its full strength, but it was unknowingly suppressed. The other party did not even have much of an aura, but it was unable to resist. Everyone was stunned. The golden-winged Great Peng, the old tortoise, and the two Saint Martial realms from the School of Legalism and School of Vertical and Horizontal were also stunned. Chapter 1769. Is this really Fu Ibai? In the silent void, Du Shui, and the other Du family disciples were completely stunned. How is this still the Fu Ibai from the Du family's martial codex? This was clearly a peerless expert. At this moment, the Du family disciples were enlightened. No wonder Du Xiaofu was so savage and wanted to roast ferocious beasts. It turned out that all of this came from Fu Ibai. Back in the Du family, Du Xiaofu and Fu Ibai would hang out together every day. They would climb trees to dig bird nests and catch fish in the water. There was once when they almost burned down the Du family's back mountain. Regret. Du Shui, and Du Hao were filled with regret. If they knew that Fu Ibai was such a peerless expert, they would have kept pestering Fu Ibai. If they could have obtained a move or two from him, it would have been immensely beneficial. Unfortunately, Fu Ibai had been hiding and deceiving the Du family for several generations. The Legalism Saint Martial Realm expert spoke. He looked at Fu Ibai with fluctuating divine light in his eyes. Legalism's people. Fu Ibai's expression immediately turned gloomy as he turned around. He let go of the blazing scarlet dragon and soared into the sky. He appeared in the void in front of a Legalism Saint Martial Realm old man like a ghost. Legalism treated my warning as fart. With just this sentence, an invisible aura fluctuated from Fu Ibai's body, causing the surrounding void to tremble. Then he slapped towards the Legalism Saint Martial Realm expert. I don't care who you are. You are too arrogant. The Legalism Saint Martial Realm expert was enraged and his expression changed. The sun, moon, and stars revolved in the world behind him. Mountains and rivers trembled as beasts roared. This was the Legalism's Dharma technique. It caused the surrounding void to shatter. Its power was shocking and terrifying to the extreme. Boom! The void exploded as runes filled the sky. A terrifying divine aura descended as all laws returned to one. The scene was terrifying as if it wanted to destroy the world. This terrifying aura caused the surrounding creatures to go limp, and some even knelt down. However, Fu Ibai's handprint was too strange. It stretched out without any fear, and the void seemed to have turned upside down as it overturned the heavens. Chi la la. At the same time, in the world that the legalism Saint Martial realm expert brought about, stars fell, demonic beasts were annihilated, mountains and rivers collapsed. Pa! A crisp slap rang out. The red handprint landed on the face of the Saint Martial expert from the school of legalism. His figure was completely revealed. It was an old man with an aged appearance. At this moment, his face was red and swollen, and he spat out blood from his mouth. Pitif. As the pitiful Saint Martial realm expert spat out blood, his aged body was smashed into the ruins below, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. It was dead silent all around. The dignified legalism Saint Martial realm expert was a terrifying existence that only existed in legends. Any one of them had an earth-shattering glory and invincible might. They were all existences that created myths and legends. But now, a Saint Dragon was first trampled, and then this legalism Saint Martial realm expert was sent flying with a single slap. Oh my God! The entire void was astonished. The scene in front of them made all the creatures' hair stand on end, and their hearts were filled with shock. The legalism, dragons, and school of vertical and horizontal fell from heaven to hell once again. Their faces were as pale as ash. This was the saint ancestor they invited, an immovable giant mountain. He was one of the strongest existences in the world, and his cultivation had reached the heavens. Otherwise, how could he be called a saint? The word saint was enough to describe him. But now this scene was too unreal. The Saint Dragon of Dragons and the Saint Ancestor of Legalism couldn't even withstand a single blow. The remaining Saint Martial realm expert from the school of vertical and horizontal was also shocked. The void around his body rippled with flames as he stood in midair in disbelief, his face pale. Bastards, I've already said in legalism that if you want to touch Du Xiaofu, you're welcome. It's fine if you're at the greater domain realm, but if you're able to kill him, that's your ability. But if you're at the bounded domain realm or above, I don't mind smacking you to death. Fu Ibai was in the sky. These were the words he had said in legalism. He was furious now. His gaze swept across the figures of the legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons in the void. He said in a deep voice, "The great calamity of the world is coming. If it weren't for the fact that you're still useful, I would have smacked you to death one by one." His voice was like thunder, and his face was ashen. He continued, "Remember, if you want to touch Du Xiaofu, you're welcome to continue. If you're able to kill him, that's your ability. But remember, if you're at the saint realm or above, I'll destroy your orthodoxies." When these words fell into everyone's ears, the entire crowd was as silent as cicadas in winter. Only Du Xiaofu was speechless. What did he mean by, "If you're able to kill me, that's your ability"? Did Fu Ibai think that he didn't have enough enemies? However, Du Xiaofu was even more shocked at this moment. All the signs indicated that Fu Ibai wasn't an ordinary person, but Du Xiaofu didn't expect Fu Ibai to be so powerful. A legendary Saint Realm expert couldn't even withstand a single blow from him. No one dared to say a word. Such a sloppy old man had trampled on a Saint Dragon and slapped the legalism's divine ancestor effortlessly. It was so shocking that people couldn't breathe for a long time. The dragon's Saint Dragon was drenched in blood and trembling at the side. The legalism's Saint Martial realm old man crawled out from the ground. He was in an extremely sorry state and didn't dare to say anything else. Fu Ibai swept his gaze across the surroundings. His white hair, which resembled a bird's nest, had weeds swaying in the wind. At this moment, he exuded a dignified aura. Subsequently, Fu Ibai straightened his clothes. However, his messy white hair, which resembled a bird's nest, still had a few strands of weeds in it, and his tattered clothes couldn't give him a dignified aura. Furthermore, he was holding a few kilograms of dragon meat that was suffused with a multicolored glow. Following that, Fu Ibai crossed the void and arrived before the desolate country's lineup. His eyes revealed a smile, and in an instant he seemed to be a completely different person. "Greetings, Elder Fu." As Fu Yibai approached, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Du Shui, and the rest of the Du family's juniors instinctively bowed. They grew up in the Du family, and everyone was obedient and respectful in front of Fu Yibai. At this moment, it was an instinctive reverence. A bunch of brats. Not bad. Fu Yibai nodded his head as he looked at the Du family's juniors with admiration in his eyes. Moss? At this moment, Du Tingxian walked out with a similarly shocked expression before bowing respectfully. Mas. We have no relationship, so don't try to claim kinship. However, just as Du Tingxian opened his mouth, he was immediately interrupted by Fu Yibai. Fu Yibai ignored Du Tingxian and looked at Du Xiaofu. He squeezed out a smile, but his figure seemed to be about to leave. Fu Yibai, don't forget some things. Du Xiaofu stared straight at Fu Yibai, but he didn't give Fu Yibai any face. Although Du Xiaofu was grateful for Fu Yibai's help, he couldn't give any face to this old man who had deceived several generations of the Du family and even said that he would welcome others to kill him. Most importantly, the stronger Fu Yibai was, the more Du Xiaofu felt that this old man had lied to him back then. He had been in the water and in the fire all these years, but this old man had been hiding far away. Thinking of this, Du Xiaofu became even angrier. Chapter 1770. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Fu Yibai, who was about to leave, subconsciously touched his shriveled butt. Then, the smile on his old face became even more brilliant. He looked at Du Xiaofu and chuckled. His voice also became much gentler. Big brother, I came at the right time. Big brother. Big brother. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded. They thought that they had misheard. Such a peerless expert, who could slap a St. Martial realm expert like a fly, actually called the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, his brother. What was most shocking was that the sloppy old man clearly called the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, his big brother. Everyone was stunned. At this moment, even the old tortoise, Elder Lei, Garuda, the legalism St. Martial realm expert who was slapped by Fu Yibai, Li Chunfa, Qin Tianshi, Long Teng, and the others were so shocked that their eyeballs were about to pop out. Oh my God, what's going on? Not far away, Mo Tianshao, Thunderhawk King, Mieming King, Yun Zhan, Gui Che, and the Zither demon were also stunned. But at this moment, seeing Fu Yibai calling Du Xiaofu big brother, Du Tingxuan's handsome face couldn't help but twitch. You're not too late. Du Xiaofu rolled his eyes at Fu Yibai and said, shouldn't you give me an explanation? Fu Yibai's eyes flickered as he squeezed a smile onto his face. Senior Fu, where's my master? Ouyang Shuang immediately walked out from behind Du Xiaofu. Beneath her clothes was a devilish figure. Coupled with her already beautiful face, she was simply captivating. Ouyang Shuang knew that Fu Yibai had a close relationship with her master. After not seeing her master for so long, she also missed him. That old lunatic is behind. Fu Yibai looked at Ouyang Shuang and suddenly thought of something. His expression immediately changed. Fu Yibai, is your name Fu Yibai? At the same time, a graceful and beautiful figure flashed out. She was graceful, and devastatingly beautiful. Her curved brows seemed to be frowning yet not frowning, causing her to seem indistinct like smoke that was enveloped in mist, and it was breathtaking. Who else could it be but Dai Xingyu? Who are you, little girl? Fu Yibai looked at Dai Xingyu and seemed to have sensed some aura as he asked in surprise. My master said that if I see someone called Fu Yibai, I am to capture him and bring him to her. Master's orders cannot be disobeyed, please forgive my rudeness. Dai Xingyu spoke, his brows like distant mountains. Sister Xingyu, this person is too strong. Even if we join forces, we are still no match for him. Be careful. Little Qing immediately went behind Dai Xingyu and looked at Fu Yibai nervously and vigilantly. Her clear and bright pupils carried a faint green radiance as she cautiously reminded Dai Xingyu. Looking at Xiaoqing and Dai Xingyu, Fu Yibai was stunned. He then asked Dai Xingyu, who is your master? Xiaoqing subconsciously pulled Dai Xingyu's hand. Her fair and flawless skin had a faint redness, and her thin lips were delicate like rose petals. Her temperament was mysterious and supreme. Coming out of the divine domain, Xiaoqing had already stepped into the beast domain at such a young age. Dai Xingyu's gaze was firm as she looked at Fu Yibai. Her lips were as red as cinnabar and she said, "I don't know my master's name, but my sect is Sky Cloud Island." Sky Cloud Island, you are her disciple. Hearing that, Fu Yibai's expression changed drastically like a mouse seeing a cat. He pointed behind Dai Xingyu and said, "Little girl, look. Isn't that your master?" "Master is here?" Dai Xingyu and little Qing immediately looked behind them when they heard that. Many people also looked in the direction that Fu Yibai was pointing at, but there was nothing in the void where their gazes landed. "Sister Xingyu, that old guy disappeared." Xiaoqing's voice sounded out in surprise. Just as everyone turned around, Fu Yibai's figure had already disappeared without anyone noticing. "No wonder Master said he's the most cunning. Don't be fooled by his words. I'm afraid Master will scold me when I return." Dai Xingyu blamed herself. Her master had already instructed her, but she still let Fu Yibai escape. "Sister Xingyu, it's actually good that he left. With our strength, I'm afraid we won't be able to capture him." Xiaoqing heaved a sigh of relief. "I know, but it's master's orders," Dai Xingyu said softly. She naturally knew that she wasn't Fu Yibai's match, but she couldn't disobey her master's orders. "Senior Fu, you still haven't told me where my master is." Ouyang Shuang stomped her foot. Fu Yibai was simply like a ghost. "Fu Yibai, you're still running? Stop right there." But at that moment, before Ouyang Shuang finished speaking, a loud roar came from the direction Fu Yibai came from. Suddenly, a vigorous figure appeared in the air, floating in midair. It was an old man with disheveled hair. He was even more sloppy than Fu Yibai, but his eyes were as deep as the sea as he scanned the surroundings, as if he was searching for something. As for Li Chenfa and Qin Tianchi, when they saw the disheveled elder, their faces turned as ugly as when they saw Fu Yibai. The corners of their eyes twitched and they even avoided eye contact, not wanting to be noticed by the sloppy elder. "It's him." Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered. He naturally knew this old man. Back then, he seemed to have been chasing after Fu Yibai. Later on, he found out that the old man was Ouyang Shuang's master. When Ouyang Shuang saw the old man, a smile instantly hung on her face. She soared into the sky and immediately arrived before the old man. She happily greeted, "Master." "Last Shuang." When the old lunatic saw his disciple that suddenly appeared, he also revealed a smile. He could sense Ouyang Shuang's aura, as if he could see through her with a glance. He then said with satisfaction, "Not bad. Greetings, senior." Du Xiaofu went up and bowed. This was Ouyang Shuang's master, and he couldn't be impolite. Furthermore, Du Xiaofu wanted to build a good relationship with an expert who was able to mix with Fu Yibai. "Not bad." The old lunatic nodded. Back then he had seen Du Xiaofu in the void painting and praised him. But soon after, the old lunatic seemed to have thought of Fu Yibai again. He looked around and asked, "Where's Fu Yibai? Where did that old man run off to? I'm not done with him." Ouyang Shuang and Du Xiaofu looked at each other. They didn't know what to say, but they also didn't know what to say. In the air, the Saint Martial Realm expert from the School of Vertical and Horizontal's aura was blurry. Ripples flickered in his eyes as he said, "Fu Yibai just ran away not long ago. He's trying to kill with a borrowed knife." Hearing the words of the Saint Martial Realm expert from the School of Vertical and Horizontal, the surrounding people weren't stupid. They naturally understood that the School of Vertical and Horizontal wanted to borrow the mysterious old man's hand to deal with the terrifying Fu Yibai. "Master, that's the Saint Martial Realm expert from the School of Vertical and Horizontal. In the divine domain, the old man from the School of Vertical and Horizontal attacked me several times. I almost never saw you again," Ouyang Shuang said with a wronged expression. She looked so pitiful that tears almost flowed out. Ouyang Shuang wasn't a fool. The School of Vertical and Horizontal clearly wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. Ouyang Shuang had personally witnessed how terrifying Fu Yibai was. Her master had been chasing after Fu Yibai, so his strength shouldn't be too far off. The shamelessness of the school of vertical and horizontal made Ouyang Shuang very unhappy. Looking at the pitiful appearance of his beloved disciple, the old lunatic's expression changed. He turned to look at the Saint Martial Realm expert from the school of vertical and horizontal and said, "You dare to bully the young and touch my disciple? Is the school of vertical and horizontal itching for a beating?" His voice was like thunder that shook everyone's eardrums and soul. As the old lunatic's voice fell, his figure flashed like lightning and directly swept towards the Saint Martial Realm expert. Shit! The Saint Martial Realm expert from the school of vertical and horizontal originally wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. Never had he imagined that he would bring such huge trouble to himself in the blink of an eye. The latter didn't dare to be careless at all. Countless flames immediately surged out from the blurry space around him, and they transformed into strands of scorching sword chi. Swish, swish, swish. The scorching sword chi was accompanied by an ancient and surging presence. It shattered space and blocked the old lunatic's path. Under the gazes of everyone present, the old madman completely disregarded the sword light that shattered space into pieces. Everywhere his figure passed, the blazing sword chi that was sufficient to annihilate all peak experts at the Overlord regions silently collapsed into nothingness, and then he slapped his hand forward as well. Bang! In the next moment, the Saint Martial Realm expert from the school of vertical and horizontal was slapped into the distance, shattering space. Before he could even react, he had already vomited blood and fell into the distance like a broken kite. "If you dare to bully my disciple again, I'll destroy the school of vertical and horizontal." Light surged in the old lunatic's eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, he tore through the sky and chased after Fui Bai. Gulp, gulp. This scene caused all living beings to swallow their saliva. Ouyang Shuang revealed a satisfied smile. It was a little exaggerated. The school of vertical and horizontal had always been suppressed in the divine domain, so it was rare for them to be able to hold their head high. Ouyang Shuang had only wanted her master to teach the Saint Martial Realm expert a lesson earlier. As expected, her master's cultivation was unfathomable, and he didn't seem to be inferior to Fui Bai. Du Xiaofu clicked his tongue. How many experts like the old lunatic and Fui Bai are there in the world? There were also the primordial demon, Eastern Immortal, Southern Ru, Western Yao, Northern Addict, Central Tongshan, and so on. It looked like there were far more secrets in the world than what he wanted to know. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, 3 streams of energy shot down from the sky. They seemed to have descended from the 9 heavens, and they directly landed on the Saint Martial Realm expert and the 2 Saint Martial Realm experts that Fui Bai and the old lunatic had slapped away. A dragon and a human almost vomited blood at the same time. They couldn't resist at all, and their eyes were filled with horror. What's going on? The sudden change caused a commotion in all directions, and all living beings felt their hair stand on end. Du Xiaofu's eyes also trembled. It wasn't Fui Bai or the old lunatic who had attacked, but a mysterious expert. However, it seemed to be targeting the dragons, legalism, and the school of vertical and horizontal. Chapter 1771. If the 9 cauldrons don't gather, the 9 houses won't come out. This is a warning. When the 3 beams of energy descended, a voice rang out. It was the same voice that had been used to repel the evil demon. It came from one of the 5 people, East Immortal, South Ru, West Demon, North Addict, and Central Connection. Sheng Long, the 2 Saint Martial experts from the school of legalism and the school of vertical and horizontal, stared at the sky in shock. East Immortal, South Ru, West Demon, North Addict, Central Connection. Don't you think you've gone too far? Do you really think we dragons have no one? The dragon's Sheng Long was already drenched in blood. Fui Bai had torn off a piece of flesh and scales on his back. It was nothing compared to his enormous body, but it was still particularly glaring. He'd been born as a saint beast and thought he'd be able to shock the world. He'd never imagined that he'd be trampled again and again. One could imagine how he felt right now. Besides, the East Immortal, South Ru, West Demon, North Addict, and Central Connection were warning the 9 houses. It had nothing to do with him, the dragons. However, he'd also been affected and injured. East Immortal, South Rue, West Demon, North Addict, Central Connection. It's not like our 9 houses don't have anyone. The feelings of the Saint Martial expert from the School of Legalism were no less than that of the sacred dragon from the Dragon Clan. It was easy to imagine how a Saint Martial expert would feel after being slapped in the face as soon as he was born. 2 more beams of energy descended from the sky. They seemed to be silent, but they descended in a way that the Saint Martial expert and the Legalism's Saint Martial expert couldn't dodge. They carried with them an ancient aura that seemed to be able to affect time and space. Bang, bang, 2 muffled sounds exploded from their bodies. At the same time, the dragon's Shenglong and the Legalism's Saint Martial expert both coughed up blood at the same time. They didn't stop. The 9 cauldrons don't gather, and the 9 houses don't come out. All saints of the present age, listen up. The evil demon has awakened and a great calamity is imminent. The seal on the heavenly devil battlefield is about to be lifted. When the heavenly devil battlefield opens, all saints are forbidden from fighting. Otherwise, they'll be killed without mercy. His calm voice resounded throughout the Chenhuang continent as well as Kyushu, the Beast region, Wudong Mountain, the 4 seas, and every other corner of the world. The voice was unique. Only World Saint Realm cultivators could hear it clearly. Those who were not strong enough would not be able to hear it clearly. However, this voice also resounded in the ears of Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Dai Xingyu, and O Yangshuang. Let's go! With that, the haggard holy dragon and the Legalism's Saint Martial expert immediately flew away. For some reason, they did not stay on the Chenhuang mainland any longer. The bloodline of the School of Legalism, come with me. A rune light that distorted the void fell around Du Xiaojing and pulled him into the void. Stop! A thunderous roar came from Du Dingshuan's mouth. He held a long spear that was covered in lightning. His entire body was covered in lightning, as if a divine dragon was born. He waved his spear and thunder rumbled. The armor on his body was covered in lightning and electric arcs. The void suddenly boiled and the sound of the heavens rumbled. The terrifying power made people's hearts palpitate and their souls tremble. The spear pierced towards the distorted void. This was Du Dingshuan's all-out attack. He had always been on guard against legalism. He was afraid that legalism would take his daughter away again. He was the first to notice it and immediately stopped it. Swoosh! Everything happened in the blink of an eye. The spear light landed on the distorted void rune. However, the rune was too strong. It was like a heavenly wall that could not be destroyed. Within the light, Du Xiaojing looked at Du Tingxian. He looked at his brother who was in front of him. He was enveloped by the light and gradually moved further away. His eyes were resolute. Then, his figure instantly appeared in a crack in the void. You still dare to make a move under my nose? The domineering voice penetrated the clouds and cracked the stones. A golden light then shot out from the void and directly swept into the crack in the void. Bang! Bang! The crack in the void suddenly made a muffled sound like thunder. The surrounding runes exploded, causing the sky to tremble. Humph! A muffled sound came from the void. At the same time that the space exploded, a mist of blood spurted out. Then, everything disappeared. I was one step too slow. This old legalism bastard escaped quite quickly. The golden-winged rock that was entrenched in the void cursed. He seemed to be a little depressed. Then, as if he suddenly felt something, he looked above the void and said, I didn't make a move. I just blocked it. The sky was calm and there seemed to be no movement. Xiaojing. Du Tingxian stood with his spear. His back was straight. Electric arcs fluctuated around him. His hair danced behind him and his brows were tightly knitted. Today is different from the past. We will go and get mother and sister out eventually. Du Xiaofu came to Du Dingshuan's side. At this moment, the azure spirit armor and golden rock wings on his body were withdrawn. His face was pale. He wanted to stop them, but he was a step too late. He was afraid that he could not stop them. Retreat, retreat quickly. Seeing that the divine ancestor was trampled and fled, Long Teng, Gong Sunhua, Li Chenfa, Qin Tianshi, and the others were shocked. Then, they did not dare to stay any longer. They led the people of various clans and left quickly. Retreat, retreat quickly. Whoosh, whoosh. The 3 clans came quickly and retreated quickly. They disappeared in an instant, retreating in a sorry state. Du Xiaofu and Du Tingxian narrowed their eyes. At this moment, after the chaos caused by Fu Yibai, the mysterious East deity, Nenru, and the other 4, they did not have the intention to chase after them. Everything that had happened today seemed to hide many secrets of the current world. They needed to digest them properly. Old Tortoise, you're not dead yet. The great calamity is coming. Do you want to go and have a good chat? Old Bird, you're not dead either. Come to my place and sit. Okay. The gigantic tortoise and the golden-winged great rock, whose black light and golden light filled the air, spoke up. Then, they turned into 2 old figures and left at the same time without showing themselves. It's time to plan. After waiting for so long, I don't mind waiting a few more days. I hope your mother and Xiaojing are fine. Du Tingxian said. The armor and lightning spear on his body were withdrawn. With my sister's talent and my mother's legalism, they won't be in any danger, Du Xiaofu said. Congratulations, little guy. Your cultivation has improved greatly. Little guy, if you have time, come visit my school of Yinyang. The void around them fluctuated. Old Monster Xing Hun, Icy Ink, Old Man Di Pai, and the other experts came forward. They did not treat Du Xiaofu lightly. From the beginning, these 3 great clans had a good relationship with Du Xiaofu. Therefore, they were very casual. Thank you, seniors, for your protection and care. Du Xiaofu bowed in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. This made Old Monster Xing Hun and the others secretly praise him. Du Xiaofu was also grateful to these 3 great clans. Regardless of whether it was because of Du Xiaoqing, Du Xiaoyao, Sima Muhan, or Qi Yeshi, these 3 great clans had helped him many times. Du Xiaofu had always been a vengeful person. However, he would also repay the kindness of a drop of water with a gushing spring. He would remember the kindness of these 3 great clans in his heart. You're too polite. It's true that the new generation excels the old. We're old. Old Monster Xing Hun laughed. However, there was some awkwardness behind his smile. How could he not know that with the strength Du Xiaofu had displayed earlier, it would not be long before he could only look up to Du Xiaofu? However, the young man before him had only cultivated for less than 30 years. On the other hand, he had cultivated for thousands of years. It was simply infuriating to compare oneself to others. It's true that the new generation excels the old. Old Man Di Pai smiled apologetically. His thoughts were different from Old Monster Xing Hun's. Behind his smile, there was a deep shock. Thank you for protecting my son. Du Tingxian would like to thank everyone. Du Tingxian stepped forward and bowed to Old Monster Xing Hun and the other experts. You're too polite. Facing Du Tingxian, who was also a terrifying existence, Icy Ink, Old Monster Xing Hun, Old Man Di Pai, and the others could only be secretly shocked. The Demon King and his son were too terrifying. After that, the experts from the Taoist and Confucian schools came forward. They also said some polite words to Du Xiaofu. It could be considered that they were trying to rope him in. Du Xiaofu was also very polite. In the divine domain, the people from the Taoist and Confucian schools were also secretly helping him. In particular, they had a good relationship with Kong Sansi. However, the people from the Confucian schools had already left. Among the crowd, the 2 mysterious figures covered in cloaks and hats also left quietly. Amitba. The divine domain has already closed. We'll take our leave first. An old monk from the Buddhist school spoke. The figures planned to leave, which could be considered as a greeting to the crowd. Among the Buddhist school disciples, Jiao Ling looked at Du Xiaofu from afar and nodded. The 9 scars on his head flickered. After that, he left with the other Buddhist school disciples. In the distant void, there was a tall figure. Around him, there was a faint baleful aura. This figure gazed into the distance. At that moment, many experts surrounded Du Xiaofu. His eyes opened and closed. They seemed to contain 2 seas of blood. Then, the figure disappeared. Jialo Kaling helped the old lady to Du Xiaofu's side. She said to Du Xiaofu, Xiaofu, I'm going back to the clan to heal. Be careful. If you have time, come back to the clan. Grandma has something to discuss with you. After I've settled everything, I'll go back to the clan to see Grandma and Grandpa, Du Xiaofu said to the old lady. He also bid farewell to the elders. But with your strength, you can already protect yourselves. I'm relieved. However, you still have to be wary of the devil religion and legalism. The old lady then left with the golden-winged great rocks. Rock Emperor, we're going back to the beast region. If you need anything, just say the word. The nine-headed Phoenix clan behind the Ghost Chariot, the Tiger clan behind the Phantom Tiger King, and a few other experts also bid farewell to Du Xiaofu and left. Whoosh whoosh. After several months, the Chenhuang continent, where the top experts had gathered, finally began to disperse. However, during these few months, everyone knew that the current situation had undergone earth-shattering changes. The desolate nation, which had risen to prominence, had now become one of the strongest powers in the world. With the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaoyao, the Violet Dragon Emperor, Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, Dai Xingyu, Ouyang Shuang, and other top experts, it wouldn't be long before the desolate nation became even more dazzling. Chapter 1772. Little Xingxing, do you want to go back to Wutong Mountain with me? Zi Xian came to little Xingxing's side. Her graceful figure was elegant and seductive. She was different from Su Muxin. Little Xingxing hesitated for a moment. He looked at Du Xiaofu, then pulled Zixuan's hand and said seriously, Godmother, I want to be with Father for a period of time. I want to help Father with some things. All right. Zi Xian nodded and looked at Du Xiaofu. She looked at Ouyang Shuang, Su Muxin, Qi Yeshi, and the others beside Du Xiaofu. Her eyes flickered. When the time comes, I'll bring little Xingxing to Wutong Mountain to find you. Du Xiaofu said to Zi Xian. He thought of the little ant queen. He needed to go to the Phoenix clan to fully recover and might even evolve into an ant phoenix. Anyway, I have to go to the Phoenix clan. I'll go with Father. Little Xingxing smiled and looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix. Godmother, why don't you stay with us for a while? We can go to Wutong Mountain together. Zi Xian looked at Du Xiaofu and then stroked little Xingxing's hair. I need to go to Wutong Mountain first. All right then. Little Xingxing was a little disappointed. Whoosh whoosh, after a while, the Phoenix clan also left. There were not many people left in the void. Qi Yeshi, Sima Muhan, and the others came out of the Divine Dominion and also needed to return to the Yinyang School and Mo School. They also bid farewell to Du Xiaofu with reluctance in their eyes. Before they left, Old Monster Xing Hun, Bing Mo, Elder Di Pai, and the others invited Du Xiaofu to visit their clans again. Phew! When only the Desolate Country, Ancient Heaven Sect, Stygian Sect, Mysterious Talisman School, and Hahuan School were left in the void, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and looked at the void. It's been so long. Let's go home. Time seemed to have frozen on the vast plain, and it revealed a ghastly silence. Looking from afar, there was a huge circle in the vast plain. The arc in the middle was divided into two, forming the two extremes of yin and yang. It was faintly discernible, but no one could see it. The floating palace was surrounded by misty clouds. It suddenly appeared like a miracle. Legalism. I'm afraid the school of vertical and horizontal won't let this matter rest. The dragons are also getting restless. The demons are recovering faster than expected. It seems like the problem is more serious than we thought. A figure appeared outside the palace. It was a youth who appeared to be only 12 or 13 years old. However, there was no immaturity on his face. Instead, it was filled with vicissitudes and wisdom. In particular, the young man's eyes, which were as deep as a black hole, seemed to be able to see through space and see past and present lives. Legalism. The school of vertical and horizontal appears to be dealing with that kid, but in reality, they are testing us. From the beginning until now, they have never been truly obedient. The dragons have always been restless. However, with the Azure Dragon bloodline suppressing them, they are still afraid. The other families also have their own ideas. Some of them are sincerely loyal to the strongest, but there are also some who are acting according to the situation. A middle-aged man stood outside the palace with his hands behind his back. His plain robes could not conceal his ethereal temperament. His eyes silently looked down at the vast and boundless plain below, as if he was thinking about something important. He then looked at the middle-aged man in plain robes and said, "That's why you purposely prevented the saints from making a move. I've secretly observed for a while. With Du Xiaofu's personality, there are many things that he doesn't know. However, I'm afraid that he won't let go of the legalism, the school of vertical and horizontal, and the dragons. This is equivalent to allowing Du Xiaofu to cause trouble. At that time, I'm afraid that some people won't be able to keep calm anymore. This time, their losses are already great enough. Some people have to be warned. Although the dragon god and the strongest have left, they have to fulfill their promises. In this world, there are still people watching them," the young man in plain robes said. "Once the demons completely recover, this world will be unstoppable. The dragon god and the strongest will not appear again," the young man said worriedly. "There have been many changes. Perhaps it won't be as pessimistic as we thought." The middle-aged man in plain robes raised his head. A rare smile appeared on his face. The young man looked at the middle-aged man in plain robes. His eyes moved slightly as he said, "Are you talking about that kid Du Xiaofu? He is indeed extraordinary. However, the dragon god and the strongest couldn't kill those demons back then. Now that the 8 divine thunder cauldrons have fallen into the hands of the demons, I'm afraid that the chances are not high. Moreover, that kid is still very weak now. He needs a long time to grow. I believe that the sovereign and the dragon god have made arrangements," the middle-aged man said. His expression was calm and subtle. He stood there quietly, as if he was the ruler of this world. He quietly merged with the space on the ground. After a while, the young man's eyes were filled with vicissitudes as he spoke again. "The devil religion can be considered to have officially appeared. From the aura, that demon has recovered a lot. Those demon envoys and demon emperors probably won't have any scruples anymore. The great calamity has arrived. The seal on the heavenly devil battlefield is getting weaker and weaker. The devil religion is also waiting. They must enter the heavenly devil battlefield, or they will never be able to fully recover." The middle-aged man in plain robes looked at the vast square below and said slowly, "I hope there is still time for that kid and those few changes to grow. Otherwise, I'm afraid that this world will really become a demon domain. The devil religion has been searching for spiritual thunder. I think that it has something to do with that thunder sovereign." The young man looked at the middle-aged man in plain robes and asked, "Back then, there was only one thunder sovereign." The middle-aged man in plain robes also revealed a look of surprise as he muttered softly, "I hope that this world can survive this calamity." The young man's eyes rippled as he muttered softly. The divine domain disappeared, but the world was no longer calm. Kyushu and the Beast region were all in an uproar. Sage realm experts made a move, demons appeared, and the divine lightning cauldron fought. When these news spread, it shocked the world and spread like a storm. Did anyone obtain the greatest opportunity in the divine domain? What is the greatest opportunity in the divine domain? Some people were discussing and guessing. They didn't know who obtained the legendary greatest opportunity in the divine domain, but they didn't know if anyone had obtained it. The desolate country is no longer the same as before. Just the Nirvana Supremes alone have a lot of them. The demon king Du Xiaofu is rumored to have reached half-step Nirvana rebirth. He has the divine lightning cauldron. How powerful is he? It said that the demon king Du Xiaofu killed legalism, dragons, and all the supreme geniuses from the school of vertical and horizontal. I heard that even the experts of legalism, dragons, and school of vertical and horizontal were all killed by Du Xiaofu when they entered the divine domain. They suffered heavy losses. With such a loss, I'm afraid that the luck of the 3 clans has already been affected. From now on it will plummet. The discussions in the world were like a storm, accompanied by an invisible tense atmosphere, as if a storm would descend at any moment. Desolate country, Stone City. The Rock Emperor is back. Third Master is back. It was bustling with noise and excitement. Stone City was boiling with activity as the Imperial City was crowded with people. Third brother, you're finally back. It's great that you're back. In the main hall of the Du family, Du Jinwu and Du Jixiong looked at the handsome middle-aged man in front of them. Although they looked calm, anyone could feel that the two of them were trembling with excitement. I've made Big Brother and Second Brother worry. The Du family has also made Big Brother and Second Brother worry. Du Tingxian was apologetic. Among the three brothers, he had always been the one who worried the Du family the most. All these years, the Du family had been taken care of by Big Brother and Second Brother. We're brothers. Moreover, without you and Xiaofu wandering outside, the Du family would not be where it is now. Du Jixiong said. Third brother, you have a good son. Du Jixiong smiled. Today, the desolate country's disciples had returned from the divine domain. His third brother had also returned home. Naturally, there was nothing happier than today. Chapter 1773. After Du Xiaofu returned to the Stone City, he immediately went into the ancient barren space to heal himself. In the battle with Mo Sha, although he had suppressed Mo Sha, he had used up quite a bit of his energy. Just the consumption of the Cyan Spirit Armor was enough. With the protection of the Azure Spirit Armor, the Immortal Xian Body, and the Great Success Divine Body of the Golden Winged Rock Clan, Du Xiaofu's defense was like adding wings to a tiger. However, Moksha's strength was extraordinary, causing Du Xiaofu to suffer a lot of injuries. Walala, golden light rippled and mysterious runes flickered. Du Xiaofu did not consume any elixirs or spiritual medicine. His injuries did not require the help of elixirs or spiritual medicine. At this moment, he was at the half-step rebirth nirvana realm and could not progress any further. Du Xiaofu's Xian Qi was already full, and his primordial spirit was also full. Consuming elixirs or spiritual medicine to heal himself would waste a lot of benefits. There were other people in the ancient barren space. At this moment, the mysterious King Dragon, Little Ying, Xiao Li, and the others were comprehending the pair of true dragon horns that Du Xiaofu had obtained. This time, the barren country's paragons who had entered the divine dominion space had obtained many benefits and treasures. They also took out some treasures that they did not need and gave them to the other barren country disciples. Xiaojing, is the greatest opportunity really with you? In the ancient hall of legalism, a group of elders were shocked and their gazes fell on Du Xiaojing. The old honorable lord of legalism, the current honorable lord, Li Qinfa Qin Tianshi, and the others were also among them. Qi La. In Du Xiaojing's hand, palm-sized pieces of ancient white jade flew out. They shone brightly and rained down light in the hall. Finally, a blurry figure was revealed. Whoosh whoosh. These blurry figures held long swords and streaks of sword radiance flew out. They looked ordinary, but upon closer inspection, they were profound and complicated. In the hall, an elder screamed. The streaks of sword radiance made people feel as if they were struck by lightning. Even with their cultivation, they could not withstand it. Those with insufficient talent and cultivation will not be able to see it. At the head of the hall, the legalism's sacred ancestor had just returned from the Qinhuang continent in a horrible state. His face was pale as he stared at the streaks of light shooting out from the illusionary figures. They were sword techniques that could shock the world. Child, can you let me take a look at this item? The divine ancestor of legalism looked at the sword radiance sword scripture art's deep eyes. I'm a member of the school of legalism. Naturally, I can let the sacred ancestors study this sword art. Du Xiaojing looked divine ancestor said divine ancestor of heavenly saint ancestor said. Yes, the divine ancestor nodded. His eyes rippled as he said, you belong to the school of legalism, and so does your mother. Stay in the school of legalism. Our school of legalism's orthodoxy is firm and indestructible. Your talent is peerless, and we will allow you to sweep through the present and surpass the ancient times." With that, the divine ancestor took the sword radiance with excitement and left a message in the hall. "I will go into seclusion again. Before I come out, legalism will not appear in the world. Farewell, divine ancestor." In the hall, everyone bowed and sent the divine ancestor off. Du Xiaojing's hair fell to his waist. His eyes were as clear as the stars, but there was a hint of fluctuation in the depths of his eyes. After a few days in the ancient desolate space, Du Xiaofu walked out. His injuries were healed, and his face was ruddy. Legalism and school of vertical and horizontal must pay the price. After a while, Du Xiaofu sat in the main hall of the Du family with a cold glint in his eyes. There were not many people in the main hall of the Du family. There were only the core members of the Du family: Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Du Xiaoqing, Ouyang Shuang, Zhen Qingchun, Elder Lei, Heavenly Wolf Mo Tianxiao, Yi Piaoling, Miameng Wang, Thunderhawk King, and Yi Wuming. There are saints among those big families. It's hard to cross unless we can take that step. Du Tingxian sat upright, his handsome face slightly solemn. The saint realm was like a huge mountain that stretched across their eyes. It seems that Dongxian and Nan Ru said that saints are not allowed to fight before the heavenly devil battlefield opens, Little Xingxing said and looked at Du Tingxian in confusion. When did they say that? Du Tingxian was confused. He had never heard of it. We haven't heard of it either? Yi Piaoling, Yi Wuming, Mo Tianxiao, and Du Yunlong shook their heads in confusion. They had never heard of it either. I heard it. I have something to say. Dai Xingyu and Ouyang Shuang said. They were sure. Hearing this, everyone in the main hall was confused. They were all in the Qinhuang mainland. Why did some people hear it and some not? From the looks of it, not everyone can hear it. However, I'm sure that those Saint Realm cultivators can't act as they wish at this moment. After a while, everyone said after a discussion. If that's the case, we don't have to be afraid of those saints for the time being. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. He had also heard those words that day. There are saints in legalism. I'm afraid they won't let your mother and Xiaojing out now. We don't have much of a chance now. Du Tingxian was a little disappointed. He had thought that his family could be reunited after coming out of the divine dominion. However, in the face of a colossus like legalism with a Saint Realm expert was still an unshakable mountain, even though legalism had been hurt time and time again. Not necessarily. We have to do something. Otherwise, legalism will really think that we can't do anything to them. Du Xiaofu spoke, the corners of his mouth curling up in a cold smile. The most important thing is to get your mother and Xiaojing out, Du Tingxian said. Of course, I've already thought of something. At least, we can't let legalism have it easy. Du Xiaofu smiled faintly. Could it be? Du Tingxian looked at Du Xiaofu and seemed to have thought of something. His sharp eyes suddenly surged with coldness. In Kyushu, uproot all the converted forces of legalism and the school of vertical and horizontal. Du Xiaofu said. This was the plan he had in mind for the past few days. Eliminating all the converted forces of legalism and the school of vertical and horizontal in Kyushu would be enough to hurt legalism and the school of vertical and horizontal again. I'm afraid we'll have to ask Elder Lei to supervise this operation, Du Tingxian said to Elder Lei. There won't be a problem for those below the Saint Realm. Elder Lei nodded. This operation will be called Operation Thunderbolt. Du Xiaofu's eyes were faintly golden, and his killing intent was undisguised. The mountain peak was layered and messy, but it was majestic and strange. At this moment, Du Xiaofu appeared on this mountain peak. He remembered that this was the place where his drunkard father had told him everything. The inky blue sky seemed to have been washed by clear water. It was fresh and clean, gentle and solemn. It was also very similar to the weather of that day. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu felt different when he appeared on this mountain again. He was no longer as sad, bitter, angry, and emotional as before. Time passes quickly. Du Tingxian took a sip of wine and handed the flagon to Du Xiaofu. He looked beyond the mountain range. It was vast and boundless, and there was another taller mountain. It's not that fast. Du Xiaofu took the flagon and took small sips. It still tasted the same. Your mother will be very happy to have a son like you. Du Tingxian turned around and looked gently at Du Xiaofu. I hope that it won't be long before our family can be reunited. Du Xiaofu took a big gulp of wine this time, and there was some emotion in his eyes. Well, at least it's getting closer. Du Tingxian said, they were very, very strong in the past, but now, they are only very strong. I said that I would overturn them. A gentleman's words cannot be taken back. Du Xiaofu smiled slightly, but his fists were clenched tightly. In his mind, he recalled his mother's heart-wrenching cries and struggles. What flowed out were tears of blood. Your father is very useless. He has to rely on his son to pick up his woman and daughter. Du Tingxian took the flagon that Du Xiaofu held tightly and took small sips. If you say that, I will feel a little embarrassed. Du Xiaofu smiled. Du Tingxian glanced sideways and rolled his eyes at Du Xiaofu. Afterward, the father and son sat on a rock, their windbreakers fluttering in the wind. They drank wine and talked about some irrelevant things, including their experiences over the years. From Du Tingxuan's words, Du Xiaofu learned that Jinlei Tensei's inheritance had indeed fallen into the hands of his drunkard father. Du Xiaofu felt that his drunkard father made it sound easy to obtain Jinlei Tensei's inheritance, but it was likely that in order to obtain the inheritance, he would have to go through an astonishing trial. How could Jinlei Tensei's inheritance be so easy to obtain? After obtaining Jinlei Tensei's inheritance, his cultivation had risen to the sealed domain realm, so it was difficult for him to make much progress in the god domain. Therefore, outside the god domain, he had destroyed his cultivation and started cultivating again. Du Xiaofu was a little speechless at his perseverance. His drunkard father's ferocity was extraordinary. As for Elder Lei, he had been Jinlei Tensei's mount and had been able to survive until now because he had sealed himself. The 8 lightning figures that had been following him were actually 8 puppets left behind by Jinlei Tensei. Their strength was around the domain realm, but if they joined forces and formed a formation, they could fight against a domain realm cultivator. Chapter 1774. It wasn't until dusk that father and son left. Third young master, Jiangchen is here. When Du Xiaofu returned to the Du clan, little Tiger Du told him that Jiangchen had come. He's here. Du Xiaofu was surprised. What level have you reached? Why can't I see through you? In a side hall of the Du clan, little Xingxing's clear eyes flickered with faint golden flames. He carefully examined a man in purple robes, then pouted. You must have become a golden growler, right? Rumor has it that golden growlers can kill dragons and swallow clouds. Everywhere they go, they leave a trail of red. It's terrifying. Why don't we compare ourselves? As a dragon, little Xingxing had heard rumors that golden growlers could kill dragons. He wasn't convinced and wanted to test himself. The man's eyes were deep, and his rebellious eyebrows rose slightly. He looked at little Xingxing and pursed his lips. You have the aura of a true dragon, as well as the aura of a phoenix and a black tortoise. I don't want to compete with you. What if I insist on competing with you? Little Xingxing glared at Jiangchen. You can't do anything to me, and I can't do anything to you, said Jiangchen coolly. His handsome profile was flawless. Boring. Little Xingxing rolled his eyes at Jiangchen helplessly. Actually, I just wanted to see for myself how strong golden growlers are, said Du Xiaoyao curiously, sizing up Jiangchen. Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing were already very familiar with Jiangchen. Otherwise, with Jiangchen's cold, unapproachable demeanor, few people would dare approach him, much less joke around. You'll have the chance, said Jiangchen, his voice calm. What are you doing here? Their voices traveled into the side hall. Du Xiaofu strode in. He'd heard Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing's voices long ago. Who else could it be but Jiangchen? He was dressed in dark purple robes, a man who could move the hearts of all women. Du Xiaofu had no idea when Jiangchen had left after the divine domain had closed. Now that Jiangchen had come to the desolate country, Du Xiaofu felt quite confused, so he asked about it. I was just walking around. I passed by this place, so I came to take a look. Jiangchen looked around the side hall and said to Du Xiaofu, the desolate country is now famous. Should I congratulate you? Du Xiaofu plopped his butt down next to Jiangchen. There's no need to congratulate me. Rumor has it that a great tribulation is imminent. When the time comes, the world might become a demonic realm. I'm afraid that if we can't stop the tribulation, it'll be difficult to find a place to survive. The great tribulation of heaven and earth has nothing to do with me. I am an evil demon in the eyes of the world. The demon domain might be more suitable for me. Jiangchen looked at Du Xiaofu for a moment, then continued, if the legendary great tribulation of heaven and earth really does come, as an evil demon, will you and I have to face it head-on? Du Xiaofu looked at Jiangchen with a serious expression, but soon after, a smile appeared on his face. We'll talk about it when the time comes. It's still early, but I'd like to know exactly what level of strength you've reached. Jiangchen raised his head slightly and didn't say anything else. His long hair flowed down his back like flowing water. Then he looked at Du Xiaofu and said calmly, from the looks of it, you seem to have run into some trouble. Do you want me to help you? Consider it repaying the favor I owed you. When he heard this, Du Xiaofu's gaze flickered. He smiled slightly and said, all right. Du Xiaofu knew in his heart that, perhaps because he was a zombie, he couldn't see through Jiangchen's strength. However, his strength was definitely extraordinary. Jiangchen had probably long since reached the level of a golden roar. Rumor had it that zombies were special existences. Some were even immortal and could enter and exit the two realms of yin and yang. They could travel up the 9 heavens and down the netherworld. It was clear how terrifying zombies were. A few days later, at the center of the ancient heaven sect, many experts of the desolate nation gathered. More than 2,000 figures had gathered. The 18 heavenly guards, Heavenly Wolf Gu Tianxiao, Thunderhawk King, Niemeng King, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaomin, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Scarlet Rock, Du Hao, Du Shui, the Silver-Winged Demonic Eagle, the Black Dragon King, the Guqin Demon, Yun Zhan, and other experts of the desolate nation had gathered. That astonishing aura quietly spread out. At this moment, Gu Qingyang, Sima Taxing, Venerable Golden Rock, the Ancient Domain Master, and the Heavenly Phoenix Domain Master all gasped. With such a lineup, which force above Kyushu could resist? How long has it been? The desolate nation has already reached such a level. Sima Taxing's glass-like eyes were filled with ripples at this moment. Over the years, he had witnessed the growth of the desolate nation with his own eyes. From the beginning, the desolate nation was weak. Now, all the sovereign sky prides had appeared. In just a dozen years, the desolate nation's growth speed was too terrifying. The Ancient Domain Master and the Heavenly Phoenix Domain Master looked at the figures of Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, Gu Tianxiao, and Du Xiaoqing. A bitter smile appeared on their faces. They were the elders of the ancient heaven sect, but now, in front of the younger generation, they were ashamed of their inferiority. Venerable Golden Rock was already in the domain realm. Strictly speaking, he was already the Golden Rock Domain Master. Looking at the figures in front of him, he muttered softly, Kyushu is about to change. This time, the desolate nation's experts who had come to the ancient heaven sect were at least in the martial royal realm, beast emperor realm, and 6-star spiritual talisman masters. There were more than 2,000 of them. Most of them were ferocious beasts from the Heavenly Beast Hall. The Heavenly Beast Hall already had many ferocious beasts, including Guiche, Yinglong, Raging Bear King, Spiritual Tiger King, and other terrifying existences. This time, Thunderhawk King and Niemeng King had brought out many kings of the ancient demonic beasts from the deity domain, and they were all in the beast domain realm. In front of the desolate nation's lineup, Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, Dai Xingyu, Little Xingxing, Elder Lei, Zhen Qingchun, Thunderhawk King, Niemeng King, Heavenly Wolf Gu Tianxiao, and Yi Piaoling were waiting in front. Boom! Amidst the continuous mountain range, a spatial wormhole in the valley was activated. The glyph array was dazzling and flashed with runes. Looking at the spatial wormhole in front of them, Du Xiaofu said, according to the information we received, the School of Legalism and School of Vertical and Horizontal have converted forces in the other 8 prefectures. There are a total of 64 forces that can be named. Let's act according to the plan. Hanzhou is mine. Heavenly Wolf Gu Tianxiao said. He then rushed into the spatial wormhole, followed by Mysterious Dragon King, Stone Turtle King, and dozens of other experts from the Heavenly Beast Hall. Ning Prefecture is mine. Let's take a walk around, Thunderhawk King and Miameng King said. They led Yun Zhan, Bing Feng, and hundreds of other figures into the spatial wormhole. Lan Prefecture is ours, Du Xiaoyao said. She turned into a golden light and left with Phantom, Bloodvine, Du Hao, Du Gui, Du Hao, Du Shui, and hundreds of other figures. Leave Wanzhou to us, said Yi Piaoling. The 18 celestial guards, Qiu Li, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaomen, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and hundreds of other figures entered the spatial wormhole one by one. Yu Prefecture is mine. Little Xingxing rushed into the spatial wormhole. Behind him were the Divine Ape King, Fire Wrm King, Silverblood Leopard King, Wind Cloud Eagle King, Three-Headed Lion King, Lightning Wolf King, and other experts of the Beast region. Cloud Prefecture is closer to me. I'll take some people there. See you then, said Jiangchen. Then his figure flashed, a faint murderous aura swirling around him as he rushed into the spatial wormhole. Go, said Du Tingxian. The 8 lightning puppets rippled with light, then entered the spatial wormhole as well. I'll go to Thunder Prefecture personally. Elder Lei will keep watch. If something unexpected happens, it won't take long for him to rush over, said Du Tingxian, a sharp glint in his eyes. All right. Elder Lei nodded. We have to do something. Legalism, School of Vertical and Horizontal, it's time to pay the price. Du Tingxian raised his head slightly, his hair fluttering. Finally, he rushed into the spatial wormhole. Whoosh whoosh. One figure after another flew into the spatial wormhole, then slowly disappeared. Chapter 1775. Looking at the figures disappearing into the wormhole, Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. The faint golden light in his eyes contained purple electric arcs, revealing a sharp killing intent. It seems that there is no need for the ancient heaven sect to do anything. Sima Taking looked at the entrance of the wormhole that had disappeared. His eyes were deep and dignified. Then he looked at Du Xiaofu and smiled bitterly. Looking at the figures of the desolate country entering the wormhole, Sima Taking knew that with the desolate country's current lineup, there was no need for this kid to go personally. Just how powerful was the Kyushu? I am already very grateful that the Munchu is willing to help with the wormhole. Du Xiaofu smiled at Sima Taking Venerable Golden Rock, the Ancient Moon Domain Master, and the Tianfeng Domain Master. As for the Ancient Heaven Sect's help, Du Xiaofu felt that this matter should be related to the desolate country and legalism. It was better for the desolate country to deal with the matter of the School of Vertical and Horizontal. Therefore, he did not even inform the Golden-Winged Rock clan. In addition, the Ancient Heaven Sect was related to the School of Emo after all. It was a converted force of the School of Emo. Du Xiaofu was already very grateful for the School of Mo's constant help and did not want to implicate the School of Emo. With the desolate country's current strength, Du Xiaofu felt that it would be enough to send troops to the 8 continents and sweep away the converted forces of the School of Legalism and the School of Vertical and Horizontal if nothing unexpected happened. The resources used to open the wormhole are yours, so there is no problem. Sima Taking smiled when he heard this. The huge amount of resources used to open the wormhole was also provided by the desolate country. Otherwise, the Ancient Heaven Sect would not be able to bear such a consumption. Sima Taking was more or less aware of Du Xiaofu's thoughts. With the desolate country's current lineup, the Ancient Heaven Sect could not help much. It seems that the desolate country also needs to build a wormhole. Du Xiaofu muttered as he gazed at the empty and misty wormhole within the valley. Talisman symbols flickered everywhere like twinkling stars. A wormhole could only be constructed by an array talisman master who was at least an 8-star talisman master, or even a 9-star array talisman master. Moreover, a wormhole could not be constructed by an ordinary 8-star or 9-star array talisman master. It contained a lot of ultimacy and was extraordinary. Opening a wormhole would consume a lot of energy. The more people there were, the more energy it would consume. Furthermore, there was the need to maintain the wormhole. This time, the desolate country had sent out all their elites. Du Xiaofu felt the pinch as well. The resources required for 2,000 people to travel through the wormhole was absolutely enormous. It was comparable to several sacred items. However, this expedition to the 8 prefectures was not a vacation. Du Xiaofu calculated that after cleaning up the battlefield, the harvest should be able to balance out the huge consumption of resources from the wormhole. Xiaofu, what are your plans for this period of time? Do you have any other arrangements? Looking at Du Xiaofu's contemplative appearance, Gu Qingyang asked his beloved disciple. He thought that Du Xiaofu was thinking about something. If Sima Taxing, Gu Qingyang, Venerable Golden Rock and the others knew that Du Xiaofu was not thinking about the 8 prefectures, but whether he could recoup the resources he had consumed, their expressions would definitely be very ugly. After coming out of the divine domain, Gu Qingyang had also stepped into the domain realm. He appeared even more aloof and had the temperament of a super expert. Master, I plan to cultivate in seclusion in the ancient heaven sect for a few days. Du Xiaofu said to his master, Gu Qingyang. Then he turned to Elder Lei and said, Elder Lei, I'll leave the matters outside to you. I'll have to trouble you. No need. You can rest assured and cultivate in seclusion. Elder Lei smiled faintly. He had experienced the most turbulent years and had seen countless ancient heavens prides. He was also shocked by the young man in front of him. Thank you, Elder Lei. Du Xiaofu saluted. This was Jin Lei Tensei's mount from ancient times. His drunkard father also respected it. Du Xiaofu learned from his drunkard father that Elder Lei was at the half-step sage realm. Otherwise, with Elder Lei's physical body, even if he had sealed himself in ancient times, he would not have been able to survive until now. The half-step sage realm was incomparable even to his half-step rebirth realm. The word, sage, was enough to explain everything. It was the strongest expert under the sage realm, the top existence of the present age. Although there were sage realm experts in this world, how many sage realm experts could there be in the 9 great families? A moment later, in the ancient heaven sect's mountain courtyard. This could be considered Du Xiaofu's home in the ancient heaven sect. Even if Du Xiaofu was not in the ancient heaven sect, this place was still well preserved, and disciples would often come to clean it. This place was even one of the ancient heaven sect's historical sites. All the new direct disciples would come here to have a look. This was the place where the demon king, Du Xiaofu, had cultivated. He was the leader of the 12 divine heroes. He had slain dragons and slaughtered demons. How domineering was he? Even the hearts of new disciples would sway. As the youngest martial uncle of the younger generation in the ancient heaven sect, Du Xiaofu's various deeds in the ancient heaven sect had become legends. The world pavilion that Du Xiaofu had created and left behind had always been in the ancient heaven sect. However, its name had already shaken the central continent, and it had also spread to the Kyushu. Shenyuan elixir, berserk elixir, puppets, weapons, these products of the world pavilion were above Kyushu. Now, not only were they useful, but they also represented one's status and identity. Martial Uncle Du has returned. I saw him. It's definitely Martial Uncle Du. Rumor has it that in the Divine Dominion, Martial Uncle Du swept through his peers and suppressed all the supreme talents. He even killed the primordial spirit avatars of the top experts of legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and dragons. This time, Martial Uncle Du brought many experts to the desolate country and went to the wormhole. It seems that the desolate country has a big operation this time. Where is Martial Uncle Du? Where did he go? Martial Uncle Du is so strong at such a young age. It would be great if we could get some guidance from Martial Uncle Du. If we want to get guidance from Martial Uncle Du, we might have a better chance after joining the World Pavilion. The World Pavilion was built by Martial Uncle Du. Every time Martial Uncle Du returned to the sect, he would go to the World Pavilion to take a look. If we have the chance to see Martial Uncle Du, he might even give us some guidance. It's a pity that it's not easy to join the World Pavilion now. In the Ancient Heaven sect, the disciples were in an uproar. The return of the Demon King, Martial Uncle Du, was definitely a grand occasion for the disciples of the Ancient Heaven sect. At this moment, in the ancient heaven sect, Du Xiaofu entered the ancient desolate space in the courtyard on the mountain peak. This was the ancient heaven sect. With elder lay around, Du Xiaofu could enter seclusion without worry. In the ancient desolate space, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged, deep in thought. Legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, it's time to pay the price. After a while, Du Xiaofu murmured softly, a sharp smile on his face. Walala. Then, purple electric arcs rippled in Du Xiaofu's palm, and the purple thunder profound cauldron flew out. 36 rays of black and gold light surged out, and as the runes flowed, they broke free from the suppression of the purple thunder profound cauldron. Chapter 1776. The divine territory closed and the grand event came to an end. In Kyushu, some people were happy while others were gloomy. The sects whose disciples had obtained fortuitous encounters in the divine territory were secretly excited. As for the sects and families whose disciples had perished in the divine territory, they could only sigh inwardly. The sects and factions that could nurture disciples into the divine territory were definitely not unknown in Kyushu. The appearance of the last Saint Realm expert in the Qinhuang mainland shocked the world. However, the miraculous appearance of the two super experts, Fu Ibai and Crazy Ol, shocked the world even more and spread the news. With the appearance of the evil spirit, 5 mysterious experts, known as East Deity, South Scholar, West Demon, North Addict, and Zhongtong, secretly took action to resist the evil spirit. With the impending calamity of the world, Kyushu was shrouded in an invisible oppressive atmosphere. 3 days later in this oppressive atmosphere, Han Province, Siu Sect. Suddenly, wind and clouds surged in the sky. Roar. In an instant, the roars of beasts were like heavenly thunder. 1,000-foot-long black-cloud scarlet flood dragon coiled in the void and a huge stone tortoise soared across the sky. Rumble. The earth shook, the mountains shook, the rivers surged, the mountains and rivers shattered, the earth cracked, the peaks collapsed, the void was torn apart, and the talisman arrays were unstoppable. This was a massacre. Instantly, rivers of blood flowed in the Siu sect as screams and howls filled the air. Who dares to barge into my Siu sect? My Siu sect is a sect that has converted to legalism. Do you want to die? Several old figures rushed into the sky from the mountains. Their roars were like thunder as their auras soared into the sky and their light was dazzling. We are killing those who have converted to legalism. Their voices were like thunder as a heavenly wolf descended. With lightning flashing and thunder rumbling, it swept in all directions with unparalleled momentum, destroying everything. The old figures were no match for it and could not withstand a single blow. Some wanted to escape with their primordial spirits, but they did not get their wish. Morning, Qishan Sect, Ning Province. The sun rose in the morning. Suddenly, the clouds were covered and dark clouds gathered. The early morning sky suddenly, the wind and clouds surged. Woo-woo, suddenly, the roars of beasts were like thunder. Over 100 terrifying vicious beasts filled the sky. Vicious birds took to the sky, blotting out the sun as they appeared. A huge thunder eagle soared through the sky, spreading its wings for thousands of feet. A meowing bird spread its wings, burning everything. These vicious beasts crossed the void and destroyed everything. No one could stop them. Lanzhou noon. The scorching sun hung high in the sky. Gate of Tianyu. Walala. Suddenly, a baleful aura spread out in the space, and lightning seeped out from the void. A golden-clothed youth appeared. He exuded the aura of a king, and his eyes fluctuated with golden light. He was naturally intelligent. A graceful and moving woman appeared beside the golden-clothed youth. Her bright red silk dress dragged on the ground, and her beautiful black hair was only tied up with a few bright red hair ribbons, outlining her beautiful figure. Her face was as elegant and clear as a budding lotus flower, but it also contained a hidden charm. Beside the two of them, there was a man with a baleful aura and many young men and women with purple lightning around them. There were hundreds of figures. And these people were Du Xiaoyao, Phantom, Du Hao, Du Shui, and the others. They came from the ancient heaven sect to Tianhuang mainland, and then through the wormhole to Lanzhou. There are experts coming. They don't have good intentions. Set up the array. From within the gate of Tianyu, an old voice hurriedly sounded. Several old figures soared into the sky, and their auras were vigorous. Rumble. In an instant, talisman runes soared into the sky, and the air in the surrounding space fluctuated violently. Suddenly, the space trembled, and strong winds howled in the sky. The space was chaotic, and a powerful talisman array appeared in midair. Can't even withstand a single blow. Du Xiaoyao spoke, and her voice traveled across the sky. She waved her hand, and golden light spread out like the beginning of the world. Along with the aura of chaos, it destroyed the huge talisman array like a hot knife through butter. Walala! The talisman array shattered, and the space was chaotic. The violent energy was like the most terrifying tornado, and it swept across the world. Kill! As the talisman array shattered, Phantom, Bloodvine Demon, Du Shui, and the others charged out from the void. Boom! In an instant, a murderous aura filled the sky. Lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Screams came from within the gate of Tianyu, and blood rained down. It was earth-shattering. Wanzhou, dark underworld mountain. Screams and howls filled the air like a demonic domain. Blood mist filled the sky, and corpses were strewn everywhere. Rivers of blood flowed, and the rocks were dyed red. Kill! Yi Piaoling, the 18 heavenly guards, Zhen Qingchun, Du Yunlong, Qiu Li, Du Xiaoman, Du Xiaoqing, and Little Tiger appeared on dark underworld mountain. They swept away everything in their path, and they slaughtered with iron blood. Roar! The reddish gold dragon soared through the void, and it appeared above the golden dragon gate of Yu province. Roar! Beast roars were like thunder. 1,000 zhang long fire flood dragon floated in the void, and several hundred zhang tall giant apes stood tall like mountains. Light erupted from them. A silver leopard roared, and it was as if the moon had descended. A vicious eagle flapped its wings and soared into the sky. 3 fierce lions roared, and their roars echoed through the 9 heavens. A giant wolf was covered in arcs of lightning, and thunder rumbled. Inside the golden dragon gate, there were broken walls everywhere, and blood flowed like rivers. Baleful Qi soared to the heavens. Pack up, we're going to the next one. The reddish gold dragon's voice resounded in the void. It flapped its wings, and a divine light burst out. Then, it turned into a little girl of 8 or 9 years old. She wore a reddish-purple starlight skirt, and there was a faint golden flame dancing in the depths of her eyes. There was an inverted mark between her eyebrows, and the aura she exuded was unconcealable. It was enough to cause one's soul to tremble. Cloud Province, Sky Tyrant Sect. At dusk, the sunset covered the sky, and the sun set in the west. Suddenly, in the void, a wisp of black cloud floated over from the golden sunset. Then, the void between heaven and earth dimmed. Walala! Gradually, from the void, a boundless baleful Qi lingered, and it began to affect heaven and earth. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the world fell into darkness. It made one's soul tremble. What's going on? Inside the Sky Tyrant sect, many figures rushed out. There was an old figure floating in the air, and his expression changed greatly. Whoa! Suddenly, from the boundless baleful Qi, there were countless roars and hisses. Many figures revealed their intimidating eyes, and a majestic baleful aura turned into a tidal wave that rushed over. The overwhelming baleful aura was like a dark cloud hovering in the sky, terrifying to the extreme. Woo! Countless strange figures appeared, covering the sky and earth. They raised their heads and hissed, as if they were praying to the moon. Slowly, above the void, a man in a reddish-purple robe stood on top of a floating golden coffin. His posture was elegant, and his pair of deep black eyes were like black holes, mesmerizing others. The man in the reddish-purple robe raised his head slightly, and said indifferently, "Who?" In an instant, the strange figures that blotted out the sky rushed out, enveloping the Sky Tyrant sect. Chapter 1777. Shang State Huangming Castle. Rumble, 8 lightning figures suddenly appeared in the sunny morning. In an instant, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void as if they were bringing about the end of the world. In the sky above Huangming Castle, bolts of lightning exploded and shook the surroundings, causing the ground to crack and the mountains to crumble. Instantly, countless cries of agony were heard as figures were instantly destroyed into nothingness by the lightning. Not even a mist of blood could be seen. Bang 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 bang, 8 mysterious lightning figures appeared in Huangming Castle. Their figures shuttled through the void and exploded like 8 terrifying lightning balls. No one could stop them. The talisman formation could not withstand a single blow and was destroyed easily. "It's the puppets!" Someone in Huangming Castle shouted in panic. Several old figures rushed into the sky and tried to resist the domineering lightning figures. Die! Die! The eyes of the 8 lightning figures seemed to contain a sea of lightning as they let out sharp and merciless roars. Wherever the 8 lightning figures passed, everything was destroyed and dazzling lightning arcs exploded. Bang bang! The old figures in Huangming Castle could not resist at all and were directly destroyed. Their souls were destroyed in horror. Even until their deaths, the disciples and experts of Huangming Castle could not understand what kind of existence they had offended for them to be massacred so fiercely. In a short period of time, the entire Huangming Castle was filled with blood and everything was turned into ashes. Countless charred corpses were piled up as if a great calamity had occurred. It was hard to escape this calamity. It was a ghastly sight. Thunder State, Sky Sun Sect. Those who convert to legalism, except for the old and the weak, women and children, kill everyone else. Du Tingxian appeared outside Sky Sun Sect. His hair danced in the wind as lightning erupted from his body. He waved his sleeves and destroyed the talisman formation. Kill! Countless figures rushed out from Sky Sun Sect. There were demonic beasts roaring and Dharma artifacts flying through the air. Destroy! Du Tingxian swept through the void as dazzling lightning arcs wreaked havoc around him. It was a sight to behold. Du Tingxian, you've gone too far. At the same time, someone in the Sky Sun Sect recognized Du Tingxian. Their anger soared to the heavens, and their hearts trembled with fear. Back then, someone from the Sky Sun Sect had seen Du Tingxian on the Chenhuang mainland. Quick, inform the experts of legalism to come and help. An old figure shouted, his voice echoing throughout the Heavenly Sun Sect. Boom! Suddenly, many experts and old voices moved as well. Their figures pierced through the void, and terrifying power erupted. They rushed to the sky in anger and surrounded Du Tingxian. You're no match for him. Du Tingxian exploded with thunder and lightning. Purple electric arcs burned brightly as the murderous aura filled the air. With his own strength, he swept through several tyrannical experts. His killing intent soared into the heavens and shook the surroundings. This type of intense battle was terrifying, making the void collapse and mountains and rivers turn into ashes. However, it didn't take long for the top experts of the Heavenly Sun Sect to be killed by Du Tingxian before they even had a chance to escape. Their blood splattered across the void. Kill! Killing intent shot to the heavens. Du Tingxian's eyes were sharp as he stepped into the void and released endless power. The entire Heavenly Sun Sect was soon surrounded by endless thunder and lightning. His killing intent overflowed and destroyed everything. Bang, bang, bang. Thunder resounded as if a lightning tribulation was descending from the heavens. In a short period of time, the dignified Heavenly Sun Sect, one of the top forces of the Thunder Continent, was cleansed of blood. Only a few weak elderly, women, and children with low cultivation levels survived. Legalism. After the ruckus caused by Du Xiaofu and the golden-winged Great Peng clan's old Lady Garuda, everything had returned to normal. After the Divine Dominion space was closed, the Legalism clan couldn't be happy. It was as if there was an invisible aura of oppression. Some of the younger generation knew a little about what happened to legalism. They had heard some rumors, but they didn't dare to ask too much. All the elders were on alert, and those who asked too much would be punished severely. What happened in the Divine Dominion space was forbidden in the Legalism clan. Wanzhou's Onyx Mountain requesting help. Ning Prefecture's Heaven-shaking sect in danger. Lei Prefecture's Heavenly Sun sect in danger. Yu Prefecture's Purple Feather sect requesting help. In an ancient hall of the House of Vertical and Horizontal, there were dozens of large and small jade stones. Mysterious runes filled the air, and an ancient aura lingered in the air. Crack, crack. However, at this moment, the ancient jade stones began to crack. The old supremacy and the current supremacy were shocked, and their expressions turned serious. This is premeditated. The forces that converted to legalism are requesting help at the same time. Someone is forming an alliance to deal with our legalism. The old supremacy spoke. His voice was as loud as a bell, and it was filled with anger. Attacking the sects that converted to legalism and digging out the fate of our legalism clan. This is trying to destroy our legalism. Could it be Du Xiaofu? The current supremacy's expression changed greatly. The first person he thought of was the person that the entire legalism clan didn't want to mention. Other than that person, who else would dare to treat legalism like this? Are they trying to destroy our legalism clan's fate and dig out our legalism Dao foundation? Go to the various prefectures and personally investigate. Qin Tianshi was alarmed, and he walked out of seclusion. Successively, the converted forces sent out signals for help. If the converted forces were destroyed, it would undoubtedly destroy the entire legalism clan's fate and dig out its Dao foundation. Qin Tianshi had no choice but to come out personally. On the other hand, Li Chenfa's injuries were too serious. He had yet to come out of seclusion, and he needed time to recover. Old Ancestor, that East Immortal, Nenru, and the others said that our 9 families can't come out. The Divine Ancestor also said that he has yet to come out of seclusion. Legalism won't come out during this period of time. The current supremacy's expression was solemn, and his gaze was complicated as he spoke to Qin Tianshi. This is a big matter. Legalism has no choice but to come out. However, you guys have to go there personally. There's no need to alarm too much. Quickly. Qin Tianshi's gaze was extremely cold as he asked, "Is there any news from Wanzhou's Onyx Mountain?" Old Ancestor, Wanzhou's Onyx Mountain has also sent a request for help. The Supremacy spoke. He wasn't surprised that the Old Ancestor would ask about Wanzhou's Onyx Mountain. It was rumored that the Old Ancestor had a deep friendship with Onyx Mountain when he was in the mortal world. There were even rumors among the higher-ups of legalism that the current direct descendants of Onyx Mountain, which could actually be considered as legalism's people, were all from Qin Tianshi, the Old Ancestor's descendants. At this moment, Qin Tianshi's Old Ancestor took the lead to ask about Onyx Mountain's situation. This made everyone more certain that there was wind in an empty cave. Sometimes rumors weren't false. "Bastard, I'm going to Onyx Mountain personally." Qin Tianshi roared when he heard that something had happened to Onyx Mountain. In this world, there was a hidden void world filled with blazing hot air. Countless spiritual flames were born, and spiritual qi was abundant. This was a treasured land, and also the foundation of the school of vertical and horizontal 9 families. It gathered great luck and was extraordinary. How could this be? Several sects that converted are asking for help. This is premeditated and organized by someone. My school of vertical and horizontal. Quick, send people to the sects that converted. Someone wants to touch my school of vertical and horizontal's back door and dig out my school of vertical and horizontal's luck. They want to exterminate my school of vertical and horizontal. We can't let them go. Who is so bold to want to dig out my school of vertical and horizontal's luck? Kill without mercy. The school of vertical and horizontal was already shrouded in a tense atmosphere. Many old figures echoed in the ancient hall. The expressions of many elders and experts changed greatly, and their expressions became extremely solemn. Experts, go out and investigate. Quick. Then, many old figures personally flew out from the school of vertical and horizontal and disappeared into the void, crossing the 8 continents. Chapter 1778. As the shocking news spread, the desolate country's experts had already left for their next target. Oh my God, those people are too strong. They are terrifyingly strong. It's too shocking. Corpses are everywhere. It's a massacre. Those are the desolate country's experts. I've seen it with my own eyes. The factions that were massacred only dared to approach after the desolate country's experts had left. They were trembling in shock. Whoosh whoosh. Above the vast mountain range, hundreds of figures appeared in the void. Their auras were concealed, but the formless auras distorted the surrounding void. Among the hundreds of figures, many young men stood tall and straight like sharp spears. Baleful aura fluctuated, sharp and terrifying. These figures were Yi Piaoling, the 18 guards, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Qiu Li, and the other desolate country experts. Stop! Qiu Li, Du Yunlong, Yi Piaoling, and the others waved their sleeves at the same time and stopped in the void. Behind them, streams of light rippled. As the crowd stopped, the void in front of them suddenly trembled. Waves of vast waves swept over. Runes spread out in the sky and shone in all directions. It was as if a god was descending. Under that terrifying aura, Du Yunlong, Qiu Li, Yi Piaoling, and the others looked up. They felt a great pressure and influence in their hearts. In just an instant, a figure appeared in the distant sky. He was surrounded by bright runes like a sun in the sky. Expert, very strong. Yes. Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, and Qiu Li frowned. Their expressions turned serious. Did you guys destroy Onyx Mountain? The voice resounded, and the resplendent light on the figure dissipated in midair. An old man's figure appeared in the void. The dragon robe he wore had a lifelike golden dragon embroidered on it. It was as if he was a living creature, and the invisible aura around him suppressed the heavens. The old man's voice was like thunder. It carried an invisible force that caused the hearts of the hundreds of experts from the desolate country to tremble. The profound qi in their bodies froze and their primordial spirits trembled. Some of the weaker disciples from the desolate country could not even stand steadily in the air and almost fell from the sky. Legalism Qin Tonsher. Du Yunlong and Yi Piaoling's expressions changed when they saw the old man. Du Yunlong, Yi Piaoling, and the others naturally knew who the old man was. He was one of the ancestors of legalism, Qin Tianshi, a supreme expert who was already at the Overlord realm. Yet he had actually appeared here. Dark Underworld Mountain was destroyed by us. It will be the next one's turn soon. After recovering from the shock, Yi Piaoling's black clothes fluttered in the wind. Her eyebrows relaxed a little. Murderous aura rippled in her pitch-black eyes. A bloody aura permeated the air. There will be no more legalism believers in Kyushu. This is the revenge of my desolate country and my Du family. This is the price you have to pay for legalism. Du Yunlong spoke. After recovering from the shock, he calmed down like Yi Piaoling. Lightning rippled from his body and purple arcs of lightning shot out from his eyes. The desolate country. Good, good, truly good. Qin Tianchi laughed heartily in the void. However, this kind of laughter made people feel uncomfortable. As he laughed, Qin Tianchi's old face became ferocious. Veins appeared on his face. His aura began to ripple, causing the air to tremble. The disciples from the desolate country turned pale and trembled. You destroyed Dark Underworld Mountain and dared to touch my legalism. Go to hell. Qin Tianchi's voice caused the air to rumble. He had seen Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, and the others. They were all supreme geniuses of the desolate country. They destroyed Dark Underworld Mountain and touched the foundation of legalism. How could he bear it? His hatred for the desolate country was as deep as the ocean. His killing intent was no longer concealed. Not good. In an instant, the hundreds of experts from the desolate country trembled from the bottom of their hearts under that terrifying aura. Facing an existence like Qin Tianshi, they felt insignificant. It was difficult for them to even have the strength to fight back. Qi La. At this moment, Du Yunlong waved his sleeve. Suddenly, a golden light swept out from the air. Lightning rippled and flashed in the air. Boom! At this moment, The air was filled with dazzling lightning arcs. A vast aura suddenly appeared in the air. Feeling this aura, Qin Tianxi's eyes trembled. He stared at it. As the silver-gold lightning arcs erupted, a silver-gold figure appeared in front of Du Yunlong, Yi Piaoling, and Qiuli. It was shining brightly. It was a human-sized golden ape. It was born with spiritual eyes. Deep in its eyes, there was a sea of lightning. Redbone Horse Monkey, a primordial spirit avatar. Suddenly, Qin Tianxi recognized the golden ape. It was the Redbone Horse Monkey. At this moment, Qin Tianxi had seen through the Redbone Horse Monkey. It was just a primordial spirit avatar. It could not escape his eyes. At this moment, the Redbone Horse Monkey looked exactly the same as Du Xiaoyao. In reality, there were many differences. Its figure was slightly illusory and its body was wrapped in lightning arcs. It lacked a kind of chaotic qi. However, its body was filled with vigorous primordial spirit energy. It emitted several types of spiritual thunder aura. Du Xiaofu, you still dare to appear. In the next moment, Qin Tianxi felt that the Redbone Horse Monkey's primordial spirit avatar had Du Xiaofu's aura. With his hatred for Du Xiaofu, how could he be wrong? In an instant, Qin Tianxi stared at Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit avatar. His dazzling eyes emitted a faint light. He was clearly referring to how the Shang legalism's sacred ancestor had been abused on the Chenhuang mainland. His face was twisted to the extreme. He condensed all his anger and killing intent into a single word, die. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Tianxi moved. The talisman runes around him erupted and turned into a world. It caused the universe to revolve and the mountains and rivers to move. Rumble, at that moment, the entire Wanzhou province shook. How powerful was a Overlord Realm expert's attack? The space within a radius of tens of thousands of li was enveloped. The grand aura appeared and the sun, the moon, and the stars shook the universe. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.